You're up and it's still dark. Kick back with a cup of joe. You know you've got friends waiting on 1620 The Zone. It's Happer and Schaefer. It's Connor and Mike. Listen on the radio stream or YouTube or podcasts. Anytime it feels right. It's Happer and Schaefer. It's Happer and Schaefer.
All right, good morning and welcome in. Happy Wednesday. It's Happer and Schaefer on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. Connor Happer, Mike Schaefer, Joey Colbert with you. Never again. Don McLean, you can't make me watch a 10 p.m. tip-off just for that to happen. Never again. Television executives. Jeez, what a bummer.
Yeah, definitely a bummer. I'm prepared for like 10 p.m. starts to be a thing that happens once a year for the rest of eternity.
But if you could negotiate it down to 0 times a year, would you take
I
it?
would
Okay.
take the deal.
Good.
I'm not sure, like we were talking deal or no deal. I would climb the ladder,
Okay.
and then pull down the briefcase, and then somehow make this no 10 p.m. starts.
Like whatever wrestling event that was explained to
Money
me.
in the bank, yeah.
Money in the bank, yes, exactly. How about an elixir of a 5 o'clock tip-off tonight?
I will gladly take it. I will gladly take
Our
it.
dear friend John Bishop might be home in his bed all tucked in by like 11 o'clock.
It's possible.
Which is kind of absurd if you think about it.
I didn't even think how far the Indianapolis airport is from Hinkle Fieldhouse.
I assume Hinkle is, well, I guess I don't know where Hinkle is in comparison to that, but if it's anywhere near downtown Indianapolis, it's like a pretty solid 20-minute deal. But I don't know if they have like a downtown airport like some of the towns have, you know, the private airport. I'm not sure what they're cooking up over there. But anyway, late night for some folks last night. Joey, did you even bother with the Nebraska ball affair?
I went to sleep probably about an hour before the game actually tipped.
I'll tell you what,
I
man.
actually invested most of my time watching the NBC Throwback NBA game.
Yeah,
Which the presentation was good. I don't think Bob Costas was that good calling the game last night in Philadelphia.
I watched some of that too. I thought it was fun. Like, I didn't really. I mean, I understand what they were going for, obviously, and
Oh, definitely.
but like, I don't really understand why. All right, cool, thanks.
Something to do.
Yeah.
Basically.
I
Which
liked
is-
it.
which
I
is
liked it
fine.
as a one-time thing.
Yeah, I'm not asking for it to go away or anything like that, but I also don't see the necessity to like, oh my god, this is crazy and awesome.
I think doing like a throwback broadcast with throwback uniforms from like the era they were calling these games.
The Sixers jerseys were like 01. They missed the 90s by a year.
Yeah,
Too, I guess.
they had to go with the AI era.
Yeah, I gotta be honest. I got there about 8 o'clock, or I got to about 8 o'clock, and I'm like, all right, we're loaded up for the show tomorrow. We got some, we've got all my stuff with my like personal life done, and now there's 2 hours until the basketball.
Yeah,
game
that's
starts.
that was a killer.
I was like, oh my god, I'm definitely not gonna make it. I was really concerned.
I
Then I just pushed through. I found a way. I got to 10-16 or whatever the hell it was, the game last night. And
Then
then
you had to find the game.
I gave myself an out at halftime. And I'm like, I could make it to half, right? Let's just get to half. Got to half and then kind of continued on through halftime, opened back up my computer, fired off some American Pie lyrics, but shut it down, got back out. And I'm like, I think I'll try get to the under 12. Got to the under 12. I'm like, it's just not looking good. I texted Schaefer. I was like, I got one more media timeout. Got to the under 8. And I'm like, I need to probably stay at this point because it was looking all right. Nebraska was turning around a little bit. And then there was like a 5-point turnover swing thing with the
Yeah, it
with the
wasn't 5
Phantom-
points bank. It
with
was
the-
5 points turnover.
with the phantom foul that I still don't know what happened.
Nobody does.
I have no clue what happened on that. And then I was like, okay, click, done.
Yeah, man, that was.
Woke up this morning and I saw the score. I'm like, yes, I'm glad I made that choice.
Yeah, you actually Joey's the smartest out of all.
Hey,
Yeah,
hey, look,
well,
look,
if
look,
here's
look,
the thing.
look,
If you could choose to just not go back in time and knowing the result now, just not watch it at all, would you do it? It doesn't happen. Because now I think what's going to happen is this game is going to poison people's brains.
Yeah, oh, we're gonna have that.
Yeah.
Yeah, brain poison is very much a thing today for Nebraska ball fans.
Yeah, the good thing with that though is you have the potential antidote on Sunday. Returning home, you play Iowa. Go
True.
play that game.
True.
I mean, so you're able to beat Iowa now, lose to Iowa, and then you just turn into the entirety of the entire season has been completely
Your brain
ruined.
will be completely overtaken
Everything
by
is
poison.
terrible.
Yes.
Yeah, so there's always going to be that element of it. I don't know that there would be any way that I would skip the game,
Okay.
particularly in this season. Even if I was told the result of last night, I still feel like I'd have been compelled to at least watch half of it,
How did that happen? Yeah.
basically just to see it.
Mhm.
And I mean, we'll dive into it, I'm sure.
Oh, we will.
So I will refrain from going too deep on it. I'd rather say this. It's about 35 minutes from Hinkle to the airport, according to Google.
Wow, it's tough.
18-ish miles, which, could be even longer in traffic.
Probably not.
And
Indianapolis at 8:00. I don't think so.
I think this is actually the most important thing out of what we've discussed so far. What is your favorite American Pie lyric?
Oh man, dude, I was
For a song that has so much imagery and everything else in it.
I think it's toward the end when, and I used this in a tweet last night. It's toward the end when he's talking about the band not being able to get on, or the players couldn't get on the field because the marching band refused to yield.
Mhm.
That's just great visual right there. you
Yeah,
know?
the imagery used in that song is like some of the best.
Honestly, has anybody ever tried to? It's probably a little extensive, so you want to stay away, maybe. But it'd be a pretty good karaoke song. People would be ripping the chorus off pretty easy for you. And if you know the song, if you know the lyrics, which
Do they give you the full
yeah, they'll give you the full lyrics on the screen when you sing karaoke. But like,
true, they want you there forever.
right? Yeah, they'll give you.
I would think though they'd be like, oh, we want to shuttle people through. The quicker we go.
I mean, it's what, like a 5.5 minute song in real
It
life.
yeah, it depends on which version. There's like multiple versions.
Oh, is there a radio
Yeah,
edit?
there's what's the long version of it?
I didn't know that there was a radio edit. I guess I've only ever listened to the song or only thought about the song as just a track, like on a CD or on Spotify or whatever it is. I guess probably about 5.5. I listened to it on the way in this morning.
The radio edit is 4.5 minutes.
The radio edit is 4.5. What's the regular
It's
song?
8 minutes
and a
and
half.
42 seconds.
Is it really?
Yeah,
Oh wow, I
that's
love
the
So
original.
yeah.
Yeah, which is
Yep.
of the lyrics that you had up there, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's 8. I guess it is. It feels like 5. I love that song. What a song. And by the way, we've done some making fun of Don McLean this week because he's been on the call for 2 Nebraska ball games on the West Coast. I thought he did a pretty good job.
I
I think it was
had
fine.
no real thoughts on it because everything around it was so bad.
I just thought it
Right.
was interesting that, like, we were introduced to a new set of broadcasters, and it wasn't overwhelmingly horrible reaction from the Nebraska fan base.
Who was I think it's because that was taken care of with other aspects of that game. Though, I mean, he did the USC game
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah,
Who was he with yesterday?
Carlo Jimenez.
So when they cut out and they did the shot of those two, it felt like a grandpa
Yeah.
and his son at a wedding
So
sitting
he's
at
young.
the same table.
He's like
I was not prepared for Carlo to be that young.
he might be
24.
he might be like 8 to 10 years younger than me, which I am young.
So like basically McMaster's age.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he's big on TikTok. And I'm dead serious. He's big on TikTok. He's the voice of the Clippers.
I knew that.
And
Oh yeah, I've
and-
seen.
and so
some
he
of
does
his
all these
videos.
TikTok videos of like, here's what happens in an NBA. Here's where I sit in an NBA arena. Here's what I eat in an NBA arena. Here's where I go on a road trip for 2 days and 3 nights in an NBA arena. or something like that. But
There's an audience for that.
But in the TikTok style, like there's a whole bunch of like dings and bells in the videos. There's got to be like subliminal messaging.
I'm like shaking my head, but then I think about it. It's like I don't know the TikTok style.
So I can't wait for the TikTok of the behind the scenes from this game. And for as much as people were talking about Pauly and nobody showing up, and it wasn't obviously a full house. I thought it was loud and mildly intense.
The fans seemed super into it.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, it's also one of those like your team is kicking a top 10's team butt.
Yeah.
Like you're probably going to get pretty enthusiastic.
And they were starting to feel themselves after a little while too. You started to see some smiles on some faces and some
the UCLA players,
some Keisei Tominaga celebrations.
Yeah. Which
I can't believe that came back. I can't believe because Keisei Tominaga is enough of a cultural icon to where people are mocking his celebration 2 years later. He became
I kind of
famous.
believe it. If you're of a certain age and like he's just appearing on stuff and he won the 3-point contest that like 7 people watched, maybe that made its way onto TikTok.
I don't know. He must have done it. I think he must have done his research. He must have dove in.
He could be. I just think K-State is one of those guys that you could find on the internet, like just without even trying.
He probably would pop up. Yeah.
Or just like, remember this guy?
Yeah.
It's like he played 2 years ago.
He's going to show up in that dude's rock Twitter account.
He probably already has.
Very
He's probably
shortly.
a repeat offender.
I'm not following that account. I'm a man of principle. I'm not doing it. They keep tweeting out Brad Davison style players, and I'm not interested.
This is a potential segment for us at some point.
What?
I'm not interested.
There's a lot of things.
Explain all the things that you're just not interested in.
But
you know him well enough where it's like, that guy seems like he's at least interested enough to not be interested.
I have a deep well of thoughts on things that I am not interested in.
I would imagine.
That is for
I
sure.
would imagine.
Text from the 515. Wait, why would somebody go to an NBA arena? Well, maybe to play a college game. I would imagine that there are some NBA arenas hosting NCAA tournament.
Well, sometimes they have concerts and other events.
That's
also
true.
Might be why they would go to an NBA arena.
Also, NBA games are fun. Go to an NBA game. They're fun.
Yep.
You just sit there and you watch basketball. You don't have to necessarily root for one team or the other. You're just like, let's enjoy this. Let's see what they're cooking. Let's see what they're up to.
Last one I went to was Nuggets Pacers, and I left very angry at Mike Malone's rotation style, as it cost me quite a bit of. I gambled quite a bit on it. Doug McDermott went for 24 points for the Pacers that night.
Nice.
I felt like every 3-pointer he looked exactly at me.
Yeah,
just gave me the old suck.
That's what you get for gambling against me. I scored 3,000 points.
I bet he hasn't scored as many points in a game since that game.
Probably not. I mean, he is not really playing at all.
No,
right
not
now.
really.
I don't know how long ago this game was.
This is Martin Luther King Day of 2020.
Gosh, that would be.
Well, that's
you said he scored 25.
I think it was 20.
I bet. I don't know. I bet he had one more in him where he was scoring 25, but it didn't happen often enough. I don't even know what Doug's career high is. It's probably not much higher.
It's like I think it was like in the 30s or something when he was at Chicago, because there was some games early in his career where he was cooking teams.
He was cooking all right.
Yeah, Doug went for 24. He was 9 of 10, 6 of 7 from 3. He was plus 20 on the old plus minus.
So the last game he played, he scored 8 points in 5 minutes against the Spurs in a blowout loss. And the game before that at Utah, he scored 14 in a blowout loss.
Yeah, he will come in every once in a while and just shoot it like 6 times and then leave. You know what? Now I'm very interested in,
I got his career high if you want it.
What is it?
31 points. He did it twice. First with the Bulls against the Grizzlies in 2017. And then so he did it with the Pacers after January 19th, 2020, where I saw him.
There you go.
So it was not the most points.
Underestimating Doug McDermott.
Yeah, 2021, 2022, when he was on the Spurs for his first year, was the last season where he averaged over 10 points per game.
He's had a long career. How about this point? It's been a long time.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, not to get too sidetracked. Here we are on a Wednesday. Happer and Schaefer on 1620 The Zone. Sam Mchuan will join the show coming up at 8:30. Lauren Michelson will join us at 9:15. Yes, Lauren is allowed on the show. even though she has a potty mouth.
I forgot to inform you of something. I just now realized that she is not going to be joining us today.
Did she get kicked off the show because she
No,
has
she's
a
got a
potty
family
mouth?
thing that has popped up.
Oh,
That's
I
my
gotta
bad.
go-
That's
I gotta-
on me. I meant to text you as I got in
I
my
gotta
car.
go update the post.
That I screwed that up.
Sam McEwen from the Omaha World Herald will join the show today, and then he will join us again at 9:15. We'll just call him back.
Actually,
We could do a football interview and a basketball interview with Sam.
text him that. I bet he would do it.
I bet he probably would. I don't want to take up too much of his time. That's okay. We have other stuff to talk about. So that's our lineup today. Love to hear from you all today. 402-951-1620 on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline. Call or text that number. Tweet at Schaefer, at Connor Happer, at Mike J. Schaefer, at Joe Warcola on Twitter, or X as they call it now, I suppose, even though nobody really calls it that. Email Connor, Mike, Joey at 1620thezone.com on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox. And we say good morning to the YouTube streamers. Hi, everybody. Sal writes in. We'll talk about this as we go on throughout the show today. Sometimes you just don't have it. But Frager and Lawrence need to find their mojo. Do we do a spoof of Frager and Lawrence as Austin Powers trying to retrieve their mojo? My mojo.
That's not where my head went, but now that it's there, I'm enjoying it.
Yeah. I don't know. Lawrence is just limited in a lot of ways. Frager, people were getting on Frager last night. I mean, you're down and you're really, really, really tough for offense in the game. Like, that dude's kind of just got to go out there and be himself. Like, yeah, I saw some people who are like, all right, time Frager's burying us. Time to get him out of there. I'm like, no, you need Frager in this thing right now.
There's a lot from last night where I don't know exactly what to do with it.
You seem, are you okay?
I think I'm just tired.
Oh,
Other than
okay.
that, I don't know that there's any other. Like, I was in a much worse mental space after the Iowa game than I am after this one.
Hey, good.
So
Hey,
we can revisit that.
look on the bright side. Nebraska baseball won a midweek against
They
a Summit
did.
League team.
That is true.
They have a Tuesday win on their season.
They had to kind of throw their ace to do it, but they did it. Congratulations.
That might have been by design.
Congratulations,
It
Shane.
might have been, hey guys, we want you to think it's a Friday.
We have to start 1-0 in the midweek. Otherwise, it's going to be very bad for us. And
They're
guess
gonna
what?
Make fun of us again
They'll play again today.
Yep.
Or tonight.
against a Summit League team again.
Against a Summit.
Which
League
one?
team again? South Dakota
State.
Oh,
State.
boy.
The Jacks are in town, in Lincoln anyway. Debo writes in, watched a 35-minute career highlight package of Doug McDermott from White and Blue Review last night. Man, what a great watch if you're just bored. That's what I should have done in the 2 hours and 15 minutes while I was wasting time leading up to the Nebraska ball game last night. Just watch Doug highlight tapes.
A couple days ago, I was watching the highlight
Sounds like
package from
A
Yukon
waste of
Creighton
time as well.
from the Big East tournament last year, where Diarra and Neal was about to throw it down at the very end.
Yeah, when I thought I thought that there was a chance that I was about to be inside of the Malice at the Palace, Malice at the Garden. I was a mere feet away from that when it was happening. I'm like, uh-oh, this is not going to be good. But nothing happened.
I was feet away from Isaiah Stewart last year,
And then,
where he
and
threw
then-
down with LeBron.
Mac almost ate that one guy on UConn's staff, Bill Murray's son.
I pictured you as Jeff Van Gundy just holding on to just like holding on to the shoe in that
Seriously,
photo.
like I was on floor level, and all of a sudden I see Jemiah, like the game's over, everybody's kind of moving to their next like position, and all of a sudden I see Jemiah just like buzz by my face. Yeah, exactly. Jemiah just buzzed by. I'm like, uh-oh, this is not gonna be good. I see him go up and dunk it. People were excited, and then I'm like, uh-oh, there's a anyway, that could be a good watch as well. Sal writes in, I liked your guys' discussion about unnecessary alterations to food. Wanted to write in about the ends of the drumstick ice cream cones being sold in a bag by themselves. Oh my God, Sal, is that true? I'm offended.
Yeah, that's become a thing.
While
And
I
they flavored it. Like, so it's not just the not just a drumstick.
Are you
Like,
serious?
there's like marshmallow flavor and all these other things. There's like a term for it now. It's become its own snack.
Disgusting. I mean, I love it. It's a great part of the ice cream cone.
yeah, they're just
obviously.
calling them cones, I think is what it is.
But just once again, has anybody ever heard of moderation anymore?
no. I think moderation left us a long time ago.
I like
Pick a topic
What?
in society and then ask yourself if moderation is existent.
what don't people understand about the fact that if you eat just a bunch of the bottom of the chocolate ice cream cone, that it's not going to be as good as actually fighting through the ice cream cone, enjoying the ice cream cone itself, the ice cream, just to get to the bottom of it. It's like the little secret surprise at the end. People are like, no, I'd rather have the secret surprise all the time. My whole life could be a secret surprise.
I can understand it from the perspective of like, I don't really care for ice cream, but I do care for that piece of the drumstick. But I'm still not going to do it. I'm still not going to go out of my way to buy this as a snack.
No.
There's other snacks I would rather have.
You probably would
like
never
trail mix.
You
for
probably would
instance.
never if you didn't like ice cream, you probably would never realize that this is that even exists. And then you go up to it at the grocery store and you'd say, what in the world? Bottoms of ice cream cones. They're selling these in a package of 25
muffin tops.
Yeah.
I don't want the stumps.
Yeah. Okay, now you got me thinking. Name a thing in society where people
Still believe in
still
moderation.
use moderation. Yeah, it's tough.
It's not really out there.
I don't know.
We're out on the extremes, baby.
Working.
Barely. Everyone's either quiet quitting or working 7
That's
jobs.
true. Either you're working like 18 hours a day or zero. Yeah. All right, never mind.
Yeah,
Moderation doesn't exist.
We'll work on it throughout the show. We'll see what we can come
All
up
right,
with.
yeah, let us know if you could think of anything that people still pretty routinely and commonly use moderation in any walk of life. Please let us know. 402-951-1620.
I don't know which of the YouTubers this is. It's Pesky Blues. That's how I know.
That's Tebow.
Okay. He says that Hyper sells muffin tops and they're good.
Hyper, the energy drink place
I
at
guess.
180th and Maple.
They're just leaning into the Seinfeld bit.
Of course they do. He also says, just wait till Happer finds out about the Gardetto flavored drumstick tips. Okay, what?
No, that can't be it.
I don't, I'm already mad at a bag of rye chips from Gardetto's. Don't get me wrong. I love the rye chip. I love the rye chip. The rye chip is great, but you don't need a whole bag of rye chips. Also, what would your mouth be like if you ate a whole bag of rye chips?
What would your breath
It would be destroyed. It just sounds disgusting. All right. Thanks for being with us, folks, today. We will react, of course, to the Nebraska ball game and plenty more from yesterday. Also, I'm not going to say it's fire Matt Rhule week or whatever they're doing over there. That's not what I'm doing. But I do have a
Thank you, by the way.
potentially combustible Matt Rhule topic.
Ooh.
All right. I'm not going to go as far as, some other people, but I am going to say I have a potentially combustible Matt Rhule topic.
All right.
All right. Enjoy that throughout the show today. We'll be back after this on 1620 The Zone. We received a text from the 402 for things that are consumed in moderation. This might be accurate. Wagyu beef.
Interesting. Okay. I guess
Like, I think on the scale of just beef, like how much beef you're eating in a year, the Wagyu part of it is probably very much so in moderation.
Yeah, individually, probably so. I wonder if societal
like has got
shot way up.
risen. Yeah.
So then
tenfold.
it's, does that matter? Because if you don't ever have anything and then you slowly just introduce it, it seems like moderation, but relative to the scale of your life, it's an extreme.
Yeah, like when you do the search of like when the word started becoming popular.
Yeah.
Like the word Wagyu would have just started becoming popular in America, like, 10 years ago or somewhere around there. It would have spiked around that time. Not that people didn't know about it, but it would have spiked around that time. So it's
expanding rapidly with a projected market size of 28.6 billion.
Debo says IDK Arby's has a Wagyu burger now. Yeah. Might have to find another one.
I do think individually it's not to the extremes, but just when you go from none to 28.6 billion.
Right.
I love the idea though.
Things change quickly.
Keep sending these in.
Yeah, please do. 402-951-1620. All right, we're back here on Happer and Schaefer. A quick reminder for you that we have a bunch of online contests going on right now at 1620thezone.com. I am looking at tickets to 6 concerts coming up in the next couple months. Journey, Joe Coy, George Thorogood and the Destroyers, the Black Keys, Young the Giant, Chris Stapleton, all coming to town in relatively quick fashion here. So you could enter to win tickets to any of those on our website right now at 1620thezone.com. All right. Looks like my mouse died.
Again? This happened to you yesterday.
How do you fix a mouse? You just slam it a whole bunch, right?
Probably.
Okay.
I tried doing that with my flat screen TV yesterday when the screen went out.
Oh yeah, Joey. Did you see any of the Joey tweets yesterday?
I did not.
So
we're running to Joey tweets.
He was very mad at what is it? The Vizio or what brand was it?
Insignia.
He was very mad at Insignia, the brand, and then had a backup TV that he placed upon a tote and called that good.
So what's in the living room TV was in my bed. What's in the living room was my bedroom TVs. And then I had the smaller TV on the tote. That was my backup.
So you got the backup out.
Yeah.
And you put it on top of that tote.
Yeah, just because
not the table, but the tote not on top of the table.
Well, I used to have a table, but I got 2 TV stands, and this TV stand is very short, so I wouldn't be able to see what I'm watching.
What's your seating arrangement look like in the living room?
In the living rooms?
Yeah. How big of a couch, or is there a couch?
There is a couch. It's a one of those Amazon couches where you just piece them together. It used to be a 2-piece, but we added a middle section when I moved in, because my first apartment was a very, very short space. So when I got this apartment, there was a lot more room, so I was able to have that in there.
Are futons still a thing? Do people have futons anymore? Joey, people your age or less have futons?
I would think so.
They're like higher end things now, though. Like if you're thinking of like the dorm style futon, where it's just
everybody had a futon when I was when I was in college.
But now they're like nicer and
but that was the original idea of the futon, right? And then all of a sudden they got American colleged. And now they're out of American colleges. What are we doing? Are we back to lawn chairs?
Just like they make them look nicer now.
Okay.
I had a futon that I bought for my house probably a decade ago, just to have in the office. So if I was like, I want a nap, I can just turn this into somewhere to lay down.
I know people who had 3 futons.
Yeah, I mean,
they had triple.
I think they still functionally have value as long as you're not like talking about just the dorm ones with the really thin mattress.
Yeah,
you go up from that. They're nicer. They make nicer ones. Now,
Okay, good.
to my knowledge.
And are they still cheap, inexpensive?
I think I paid like $300, and this is like 2015. So I'm guessing it's gone up from there just because everything has. What I mostly want to comment on, if you look at the photo of the TV on a tote, to the right, you can see this cow artwork that they have in their kitchen.
I noticed that as well. And
it's called art.
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
All right. So you're gonna call me a degenerate, and honestly, this is a bad place to go. But I saw that picture and I thought of the slot machine at the casino.
Oh, the Buffalo Gold.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, Joey must really like buffaloes. But then I realized it wasn't a buffalo.
I kept thinking, like, I've seen something like this available to buy in a store somewhere. What store did I see this in? And I think there's actually something very similar in like Nebraska Furniture Mart.
Oh yeah,
is what comes to mind.
Oh, they got cow pictures.
And this might be an original. I have no idea. But
is it a Joey original? Did you draw this?
No, I did not.
Okay,
this is something I got from Home Goods.
You did not commission this painting?
No, I did not. But there's a few other ones. There's one that I got from my mom when she retired from working at the med center. She got a couple of these type of artworks, but one of them was Billy the Blue Jay just standing in Omaha.
Oh, was it painted by the speed painter who looked like a
I don't think so.
Wife? Okay.
I don't think so.
All right.
But I got one of that. I got a really huge one of like a little lighthouse over at like somewhere in Maine or
nice
New Brunswick.
Love
Canada.
A good lighthouse.
Lighthouses make for nice.
I'd like to see the factory where they make all these paintings of lighthouses and cows and fields and oceans and things like that. Just they stack
just a
them
generic like warehouse in a very flat area.
I have like 3 of them.
At all.
Yeah, we have like 3 or 4 of them in my house.
I get it. They just exclusively sell to Target.
Oh yeah, we'll be all up in
but anyway, I got a typical recliner. I got the 3-seater Amazon type couch.
All right. You're good.
Yeah,
you're good.
It's pretty well set up.
I was gonna make fun of you for having like a lawn chair or something like that. Which I
no, I'm not Matt McMaster.
I was gonna say that feels like the wrong direction.
At one point, pre-couch in my apartment in Lincoln, I definitely had a lawn chair set up because I really wanted to sit close to my TV for when I played video games.
I do have
I've definitely set up things to sit closer to the TV for video games, but like then they just get moved back and out of the way for the normal setup.
Yeah.
But
I do have a balcony.
I was the only one who did that.
No.
I do have a balcony set up. I just rarely use.
A balcony setup.
Yeah, I got a couple chairs and a little table just
very
out
good.
there.
See, Joey's got style, he's got taste.
Yeah.
I just rarely use it.
He doesn't need a garage to drink in.
That's what makes the turquoise tote so weird and interesting. I think you have great taste and you have an eye for design, and yet put your television on top of a tote.
A turquoise tote.
A turquoise tote.
I think that tote contains a bunch of Husker football memorabilia. I was gonna place that somewhere, but I just decided
you'd rather keep it in the tote.
I have another tote laying around with a bunch of programs from all the sporting events I've gone to. I was meant to throw them in or stack them up in the TV stands.
Man.
I've just been lazy.
You should see my totes right now. I'm all toted up. I got totes on.
I have a bunch of totes in my bedroom because
how many totes do you have? Poll question.
And one of those totes had the baby blankets that I famously gave you for a little gift.
That is right. That was very, very nice.
Yeah, we had a bunch of those made by my late grandmother. She loved to crochet. So, but yeah, I got like probably 7 of those in there because my family, they moved out of the state and they had a storage unit. They wanted to stop paying for the fees, so I had to store it up for them. Yeah, basically. But it was meant to go to my sister who lives in Michigan, and she's just not had the time to get them.
She's not gonna.
She doesn't want to.
Well, we are gonna be getting rid of that shortly.
Well,
I will say.
All right, Schaefer, before we go in this segment, you have to explain yourself on I mean, this could be like a weekly installment of here's what Schaefer did with technology this week.
It could be.
Or something like that.
No, it wasn't the worst in that group of people technology wise yesterday.
Oh,
There
really?
was a moment where basically Caleb is explaining Jack his remote, and it looks like a son showing a grandpa how to use a television.
I saw the screenshot. I didn't know the context.
Yeah, no, that was great.
That's good.
No, so on this live stream that the I-80 Club had last night that I participated in, you get done, people who haven't streamed anything wouldn't quite understand, but you have essentially the suite that you're in for if you're sort of in control of everything. And in that, you have the ability to just end the stream. And since I do these videos every single day, and usually I'm the one that's in charge of them,
big red button. It just says end stream.
At the end of for me last night at the under 8, I was like, all right, I'm done. I'm gonna go finish this game elsewhere. I enjoyed my interaction with you guys to avoid really having to think about this game. Which
you said so. You did sign off.
Yeah. I was like, oh yeah, okay. I'm going.
Right.
And so instead of just closing the browser,
which is what you should have done,
you would do most of the time, I did what I do every time I'm done with an interview, which is I just hit end stream. Didn't think anything of it until the "that's a wrap" graphic came up, and then I realized I had just shut down their entire stream while having exited.
Yes, so they were going to continue on with the watch party, and they did, I believe, restart.
They did. It was fine. It was fine. I like to think that I was trying to save people future misery by just ending it right there. That's not really the case. I just completely and utterly.
It is a funnier story if you just say, "Hey, I just rage quit this stream because Nebraska got beat by 20 on the road."
No, there was
all right.
There wasn't like rage last night. I mean, we'll get into this, but it I don't think I have a lot of thoughts on that.
All right, so we'll do it here in just a couple minutes. Josh from Omaha writes in, by the way, on the text line. He says, "Now off of this, Connor has this could be a weekly bit. I do say that a lot, admittedly, because I do think everything could or should be a bit.
I mean, in the break, I was discussing how we could just give Joey some airtime to talk about Baylor Shireman every day.
He always lets us know about
you want to talk about
former
lack of moderation. The amount of Baylor Shireman in my right now went from 0% to like 250%.
So what's the update today, Joey? Apparently there's a Baylor Kalkbrenner matchup this evening.
Yes, there is a matchup this evening at 6:30. I don't know if Kalkbrenner's still starting, but the Hornets have been hot lately. Since January 22nd, they've gone 15-3. They are at 31-31.
All right, that's got to be playoff worthy in the Eastern Conference, right?
Yeah, and they're hanging around in the play-in.
All right, cool, nice, way to go.
But they're on the right track at the moment.
I'm sure Mike Schaefer will be enjoying.
Just
maybe it could be the first NBA game you watch this year.
It's not on national television.
The first NBA game I will watch this year.
I will have time to watch the second half when I get home after an early night of Blue Jay basketball.
That is right. As they finish
out the
what
if it's like a 4 overtime game?
Well, it'll still just end at 8.
That would be a tough final game for the producer.
Even if it's the longest college basketball game of all time, it will start 90 minutes before the game started in Westwood last night.
True.
At least.
And they even had to bump that. Like, that was the best part of it. The game before is definitely going to run long, so they bump it back just a little extra. Still didn't matter. Had to start it and ruin
FS2.
The Firestone thing.
I know, that was really funny.
Poor Grim.
That was pretty good. All right, we'll be back after this to round out the hour. I do want to collect your Nebraska ball thoughts from last night, and we'll deploy those coming up at 7. Back after this on 1620 The Zone. All right, welcome back. 6:51 here on a Wednesday. Happer and Schaefer, 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com. Quickly, before we get in deeply to the Nebraska ball talk coming up in just a few minutes, some news in the NFL yesterday. Kyler Murray is expected to be released within the next week or so as the team sort of set up their stuff for the new league year, of course, which is coming up. Kyler Murray was guaranteed $36.8 million for 2026 and would have been guaranteed another $19.5 for 2027 if he still was on the roster in 2 weeks, which is the 5th day of the new league year. But instead, he preferred to be released and start anew, which means he will be playing for somebody. Wink, wink. Skull.
It sure seems like that's a possibility.
He will be playing for somebody else that's not the Cardinals, and more importantly, he will be playing for somebody else who's not the Cardinals on a league minimum deal in 2026.
Yeah, it could be. It doesn't have to be.
It doesn't have to be.
If there's a bidding war, it
could be for another indoor football team.
Yep. No, I mean,
in the NFC.
This had come up probably the last couple weeks or so. There was just sort of a bunch of rumblings of
Are you pro this or pro Kirk?
I mean, I think
you're pro both.
In a vacuum, I would probably be pro Kirk, but I understand this gives them a better chance of winning, which is ultimately the end goal. I'm intrigued by it. I like the idea of it being a 1-year prove it deal, see how it goes, because 1, he hasn't really shown he can stay healthy. 2, he hasn't shown that he can be like effective for long stretches of time. Well, you get these really quick bursts from Kyler Murray, and then it just goes away. I think that part of why this...
How much of it is the Cardinals of it all, though?
Yeah, well, that's part of it. I think that he could be an interesting fit for Kevin O'Connell, who likes to push the ball down the field. We know Murray can throw. They've got a decent offensive line. The running game is fine. Like, they're Justin Jefferson. I mean, they certainly have weapons. It is kind of hard to ignore the fact, though, that the Cardinals played better when Jacoby Brissett was in at quarterback. Now, they lost a lot.
That's happened to many teams, though.
But they like inserted Jacoby Brissett, and all of a sudden they have like this downfield passing attack that was there. So it's not without risk. And yet at this, you have McCarthy if it goes poorly with Murray, which is to say you can continue tanking if it goes badly with Murray by just putting McCarthy in.
9. Maybe 9. Kyler can go to Minnesota and take the number 9. And then give JJ
would be amazing.
Give JJ.
I don't want to be number 1 anymore.
I'd like to be number 9. And then JJ could pick a different number and a different persona, and maybe he changes everything about himself. And maybe he becomes a good NFL quarterback. Maybe this is the kick in the butt that JJ needs.
I was with you up until the part where maybe he becomes a good NFL quarterback. And then it felt too fantastical to believe.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I already think he's a good quarterback.
I would certainly take Kyler Murray versus other options, but it's not like I don't know that it changes overall. They don't become a Super Bowl contender, and they become very much a playoff contender, but that would be true if they had something better than Carson Wentz last year too. So, I don't think
you're not against
understand how good their roster is and how much they wasted 2025.
Yeah.
Like by the end of it, they had maybe the 3rd best defense in the league behind the Seahawks and the Texans. And they were winning with Max Brosmer at quarterback.
People have a pretty decent understanding of it because they got to watch as they were a complete black hole at quarterback. And the other quarterback that they had the year before won the Super Bowl.
It's basically like, hey, you can watch this NFL game or go back to spending time with your family. And people still chose Max Brosmer.
They still did.
Amazing.
Okay, stat from Warren Sharp. Kyler Murray has in 41 games over 4 years, Kyler Murray has played in how many games in less than 45 degree temperatures? Over 4 years, 41 games. How many games under 45 degrees?
In the West, there's no games that way.
I'm going to say 4.
I don't even know if he's maybe played in Chicago once, but maybe it's early in the season. I'm gonna say it's got to be. I would say even less than Joe. You said 4.
Yeah.
Put 2.
1.
Okay.
Oh boy.
1 game under 45 degrees. I don't know which game it was, but
I could probably have an idea.
I'm not entirely sure how much it matters either.
No, I mean,
Like
everybody's got a dome now.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's that, but it's also just these feel like stats people really want to.
I just think they're funny.
Subscribe to.
I just think they're funny.
Yeah. No, I get it.
Do you want a couple more?
Yeah.
Please.
All right. This is. I won't have to do as much research now.
41 games over 4 years. How many games has Kyler Murray played in any kind of precipitation over that same period of time?
Well, if it was 1 at 45 degrees,
I know I think the Packers game at Lambeau was rainy in 2020.
Let's say 5.
1.
My goodness.
All right. So here's the outdoor stat. Kyler Murray, out of that same period of time, 4 years, 41 games, how many games have been outdoors during that period of time?
Well, so 2 against Seattle.
At least 2 every year since 2022. But who knows how many of those games he's missed? You know,
Right? Yeah, exactly.
41 games.
We'll say 7.
Joey,
what was the question again?
how many games outdoors over 41 over his last 41?
I would say 5.
12.
Okay.
12 games in the outside in the elements. 1 game under 45 degrees and 1 game in the rain.
Do you think he would be a little bit concerned about going to Minnesota because he won't get to go to Hammond, for that trip against the Bears? The stadium won't be built in time.
Very much so.
He's like, I'm going to have to play at Soldier Field. I don't know.
And they're telling me, what's that? Excuse me. Soldier Field is outside and there's a high potential for precipitation.
And it's going to be below 45.
This is not good at all. There you go. You heard it here first. Mike Schaefer, not particularly opposed to a tiny baby quarterback. He's even tinier than J.J. McCarthy.
He is tinier than J.J. McCarthy, but he's also better in many ways than J.J. McCarthy.
I'm interested.
Which is not to say he's good. I want to be very clear about that.
I floated this idea like a year or 2 ago, or maybe it was during last football season. What if he just quit and went back to baseball?
It's possible. He's like
he got drafted by the A's.
He's a decently serviceable NFL quarterback when he's healthy, but like he can go try and make his end up on a AA roster, sell some tickets, maybe end up in AAA, and then be a depth piece in September for somebody.
I do think he's going to have a long career of basically could just be the available quarterback for teams that need there's. Kirk Cousins gets mocked because he made all this money, and part of it is he's just available at the time that someone's like, I'm a quarterback away from being a contender. This is the best guy. Now, if you're just Kyler Murray and you're signing a series of 1-year deals to try to get teams to the playoffs, probably make a decent amount of money.
It's a good life.
Living that way.
It's a good life.
Now you're just going to be a transient quarterback that won't be beloved by anybody.
Hey, you could be basically tiny Jacoby Brisket. He was doing that for like 8 years.
Do you want to be tiny Brissett?
Tiny Jacoby Brissett. All right, we're back after this with Nebraska ball talk on 1620 The Zone. All right, welcome back. Happer and Schaefer on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com, 7:06 on a Wednesday. Unsportsmanlike conduct will be on the road on Friday at the T-Box, just north of Dodge on 114th Street. That is in the, I believe, Miracle Hills Plaza there. The T-Box is exactly what it sounds like, a T-Box. Multiple T-Boxes, in fact. You can join John and Josh this week on Friday at the T-Box. We'd encourage you to do so. All right, Nebraska ball last night. A 20-point loss. You can't exaggerate it one way or the other. Like if they would have lost by 19, I would have said they would have lost by 20. But they actually did lose by 20 last night on the road. It was a choppy one from the beginning. I mean, actually from the first possession, when I think it was Sky Clark who knocked down the three right out of the gate. I'm like, oh, that's aggressive. He took the three from the top of the key, like didn't really let Nebraska's defense set in. And that was kind of the story of the night. Nebraska was careless with the basketball, 13 turnovers in the game. I thought they lost a lot of the kind of plays that get regularly corralled by Nebraska, the kind of 50-50 balls, tap ups, stuff like that. And so I thought they sort of just lost on the margins last night, but they also got beat in the regular stats as well. It was a bad night from three, 5 of 24 yesterday, and just as poor from the field as well, really, 19 of 49. Nebraska just couldn't get it going on offense, and I guess that was kind of the story of the game.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's the first time all year where they just didn't have any version of anything. Like, even against Iowa, they played great defense in that game. They just couldn't score. Here, the defense wasn't nearly good enough. The offense, as you went through, they didn't shoot the ball well, and they had a ton of looks. Like, this wasn't like UCLA.
I thought they made it tough on them. I thought they made it tough on them. They were there on catches, and I thought like they had a little bit of an edge to them. UCLA did that caused some of Nebraska's just making life tough on Sanford. I thought
I mean, it's not that they didn't have some stuff going on. Nebraska also missed a bunch of open 3-pointers. If you go back and you look, and not just miss, we saw 3 guys airball shots yesterday in ways that you just don't see. They were just uncharacteristic.
The student section didn't know who to say airball to after a while.
I mean, so
they were just saying airball the entire possession.
There's that aspect of it. Defensively, it felt like Nebraska never quite settled in as we are accustomed to seeing. What's interesting is Nebraska actually rebounded fairly well in this game. And so that wasn't so much the problem. Sometimes you're just like, oh, they lost on the offensive boards. And they could have done better, I'm sure, in some regards.
I thought they were okay. Offensive boards were 11-11. It wasn't so much that, just the rebounding thing. I just think they, once again, on a different night or on a regular night, whatever you might want to say for Nebraska basketball, I just think they grab a couple more of those. I mean, there was a lot of them that were just tipped around a lot, and
Matt ended up getting 3 where they just took it right out of his hands.
Yeah, took it out of his hands, or got kicked out of bounds in some sort of weird way. And I just thought UCLA, they won more of those plays. In order for Nebraska to be, the version of the best version of themselves, they just have to be winning all of those margin type of plays. Not all of them, but 80% of them, as they normally do, as they have been the entire season. And it's not last night was it wasn't their night in that category.
They had a possession in the second half where they collected 3 offensive rebounds,
missed all the shots,
every 3-pointer,
and the last one was airballed.
So Sanford airballs it. Frager makes a great play, saves it, throws it off of Tyler Bilodeau's shoe. Like this, they get the ball back in and then immediately miss the next 3-pointer. So I think that basically summed up their night for me. And then it also felt like when they finally started making shots, UCLA then was able to respond when they needed.
I mean, that's it. They
never let them. They got to what,
10 maybe?
They got to 10 in the second half. They got to 6 late in the first half, and then immediately UCLA scored.
Yeah, they hit the. I mean, it's a big shot in that moment. It was that corner 3.
Yeah.
After the Nebraska, just
They got it to 9.
They were really just starting to turn the table just ever so slightly. Like if it was a flat, like table or line or whatever, and it had been tilting the UCLA way the entire game, Nebraska was fighting uphill. They just kind of started to get moving downhill, and then they hit, a couple big shots, just really kind of stun silencers. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, all right, maybe this isn't going to be our night.
Yeah,
and you're going to have nights like that. Like that happens. I just wonder if people, I hate to do this after every single loss, because ultimately it's just people lose basketball games, especially on the road after a long trip to the West Coast. Like there's a whole bunch of built-in stuff there for Nebraska. But I got a couple texts last night that were like, oh yeah, this team could definitely lose to a 14. And I'm like, I don't really think any differently about them now than I did 2 hours ago.
So that's these are the questions I sort of had for you, because I guess for as angry as I was about the Iowa game, which had more to do with, I felt like Nebraska was shocked by the fact that Iowa was going to be physical in a game where you knew exactly what their style was. I don't think UCLA caught Nebraska off guard. I think Nebraska just showed up and played a really bad game. And so I don't have like this sort of overarching, oh no, sort of thing. They couldn't defend well. They didn't play well on offense. As you said, they didn't play well in the margins. The only thing that sort of went for them in any way, they shot a fair amount of free throws.
And missed them all.
Yes.
9 of 18.
So they got the attempts. Yeah. They didn't make the attempts.
Yeah.
So it just, it's much easier for me to flush this game in particular than the Iowa one, for whatever the reason is.
Yeah, it's a flushable one.
Sure. So I don't think we have to make a whole lot about this. And I don't know if it's because everybody else around them also lost yesterday allows me to think this, but
you want to be like in a vacuum. You want to be playing as well as you can be going into the most important games of the year, which every game from now on is the most important game of the year, literally. Right. So I mean,
right.
Like you want to feel good going into those things. But like I said, there was a lot of reasons why it just didn't quite have the edge that it maybe has at times. At the same time, there's only one game left at home. It's not like you're going to be able to sit there and relery on your home court edge, as UCLA quite obviously did last time. I mean,
it largely has all season.
Yeah, they're 18-1 at home now.
Yeah, they've
beaten
only
Purdue
trailed in regulation.
They beat Illinois at home. Yeah,
all year.
Yeah, they beat everybody at home.
That's remarkable.
And they're going to get into the NCAA tournament just based off of that, and that alone, which is
a recipe Nebraska's employed in the past. Like,
indeed,
win a bunch of games at home and steal 2 on the road.
Yeah, I still, so to sort of like tie it all together, I suppose, their weaknesses are still their weaknesses and their limitations are still their limitations. I don't think the floor is any lower than I previously thought. If now what you did sort of pick out, I think last night, is something that I've been saying all season. If Nebraska gets, or when Nebraska gets pressured on offense, and that like the other team is playing defense and Nebraska is playing offense, and it results in, their lack of ability to make shots, which oftentimes it does. I don't know if they possess the ball handlers to get them the ability to create some shots. And then number 2, the shot creators. And I thought the thing that UCLA did that nobody's really been able to do recently is pretty much completely shut off the Samford hose. I mean, it was an impressive. They were fronting him basically all night. Yep. They're like, we can't let this guy touch the ball. The one 3-point, I guess he made 2. One of the 3-pointers he made, nobody even saw because it was an immediate response to a 3, like so fast. He was like, I'm triggering this thing. And so
the other one, he got knocked down.
It was a 4-point
play.
That's right. Yeah. That's when you see him get bogged down the most. And that can happen based on the type of team that you're playing. And I think UCLA did a really nice job of pressuring them.
And what you largely need there is when you do get the open shots, you need those guys to be able to convert at their usual rate. If they did that last night, I think Nebraska still loses that game.
Yeah, no doubt,
because they don't lose by 20.
It's
they
one
lose
thing,
maybe by 6.
It's one thing to get pressured and look uncomfortable, which obviously that was the case last night. It's another thing So like, sometimes you just make the shots at the end of the possession. And so if you're just missing and missing and missing over and over again, it's going to be really hard to dig yourself out of that hole. Like the whole being locked in for 40 thing can only take you so far.
Right.
Right.
And
I thought they made if we go to the defensive end, I thought they made some really uncharacteristic just assignment mistakes on defense.
There was a couple where like guys just were late getting to spots.
And so I think most of that is just like, all right, we're having a lack of success on offense and we're trying to dig ourselves out of this hole. We got to jump and take some risks here. And I think there was a little bit of like, hey, I gotta be the one to sort of dig us out of this. And you just like, that's not the way that Nebraska can play. I mean, they're a sort of, I know they've hit people with avalanches before, but they are like a kind of one possession at a time type of team.
Well, and the Avalanche starts from doing everything, largely correct on the defensive end and being pesky there, and then you turn it into offense, and they weren't really able to do that. And so that's sort of, again, it's hard for me to be overly upset when it felt like nothing worked in this game. And so, it wasn't just the offense, it wasn't just the defense, it wasn't just the hustle, it wasn't any one particular thing. They just came out and had a very poor performance. It's been the worst performance of they played 30 games. So in 30 games, they've had 29 performances better than this one. So it's hard for me to.
I wonder if the stats would back that up. Let me check.
It's hard for me to get too like fired up about any of this.
I agree. But like I said, even if it was, because I'll give. Wow, they fell down to 17 on Torvik. I'll give UCLA a little bit more credit than it feels like maybe you are, and I don't want to speak for you, but like I'll give UCLA a little bit more credit for the things that they were able to do, and I just thought they won the kind of energy game, and it resulted in a lot of different things for them. But even like I am thinking that was the case last night. I thought they got obviously outplayed. Yes, Nebraska played poorly for themselves in a bubble, but I thought it was because of what UCLA was doing. Even though I think that, I don't think any less of them today.
Yeah,
I don't think any less of them today.
And I don't want to I'm not.
This is kind of. I don't want to say this is who they've been, because, like you said, Schaefer, they played uncharacteristically bad, especially on the offensive end last night. But I mean, and then I think it resulted in some things, like I said, on the defensive end. But I didn't think it was like so far below their floor that of what I've seen this year that I'm like, whoa, new floor established. No, I don't think that.
Yeah, I guess I kind of think it because the only times we've really seen them be in a situation like that, they played their way out of it. I mean, Indiana, they played their way out of it. Purdue, they played their way out of it. Even Iowa, to an extent, they played their way back into that game just through their defense. They just couldn't do that last night. And some of that is certainly UCLA. Like UCLA made shots. They had guys who stepped up and made some big threes. They had guys that played well defensively.
Indiana's a good one to think about. Like Nebraska probably had their best offensive game of the they went most supernova for that extended period of time in the second half during that game. Like what UCLA did last night was they shut the hose off for the first 32 minutes.
Well,
you know what I mean? Like if you drag them, if Nebraska doesn't hit that run kind of patented, like we have a different energy about us at the start of the second half, and you drag them further down to the under 16 and the under 12 of the second half, and it still looks like it looked, then you can finally start to relax, I think, against them a little bit. You know what I mean? Because they've been down to the first half a lot this year, and they always seem to have that new edge to them right away. And they didn't get that last night. UCLA came out, made a couple buckets.
I think the biggest difference with if you're talking the Indiana UCLA though is like Jamarcus Lawrence was otherworldly in that Indiana game.
He was,
and he hasn't been that version of himself in a long time.
He's most certainly not.
And last night, you could make the case was maybe his worst game of the season.
I mean, he wasn't even on the floor for a long time because they were just like, we can't do this. We got to play Jacobson.
He missed, 4 free throws. He had a handful of turnovers.
I hardly ever saw him with the ball in his hand.
Yeah.
And then eventually Fred was just like, all right, we're going to put in Jacobson. Like,
yeah. So, I mean,
we'll take his defense.
If there is the one thing coming out of this game where I'm like, all right, if I'm taking something away here and it's a real concern, I don't know. We're now multiple games into a real kind of scuttle for Jamarcus Lawrence. It's not going to get easier against Iowa's defense coming up on Sunday. He hasn't shot the ball particularly well. He hasn't handled the ball particularly well. He's done a nice job being effective as a passer still for the most part. But because, I think I had 5 or 6 assists last night. He had 6 rebounds. He's finding other ways to contribute, but he's not effective as a scorer. He's one of the few guys that can try to take somebody off the dribble and then try to get up the jump shot or the floater or all those things. If he can't do that, you're making these faces, but that's what he did in the first half of the Big Ten run. You go watch the Indiana game.
I thought a lot of that was just
1,000% what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I thought a lot of that, what he did earlier, was just a product of the system and a product of the offense. And that was before, Samford had as much volume as he's had. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I think Sam's your point guard, and I think Sam is your playmaker. And
sure. I'm not disputing that, but also, like, if you go back, Jamarcus is taking people off the dribble and hitting mid-range jump shots. He's not doing that anymore. No. He was also hitting spot-up shots, yes, as a product of the system, but there would be times where he would just go do things. He can't do it anymore.
Yeah, he's definitely
not handling the ball well enough to do it. No. People are picking his pocket a lot. And so you take that element out, and that kind of hurts. You sort of need someone that can create at times, and if he can't do it, then you're left with Price. Price is sort of hit or miss as to, depending on how he's being defended, if he can do that. Sam can do it, but we saw last night there was times where he would just try to pass it off. The post player wasn't ready. In Mass case, it goes right out of bounds.
Yeah, but like, to be clear, like I prefer Sam a million times over as a playmaker and as a creator over anybody else that isn't named Frager or Sanford.
Right, but you got to have other people that can do it.
Well, and that's if you're thinking about the issue, which we've been saying this all year, like, that's it. I mean, if there's a thing to pick out about this team, they don't have a lot of options of creators when the offense isn't in its flow.
Yeah,
and when they lose and when they get bogged down, that is the thing that very clearly and obviously stands out. And like, you only have so many options at that. And then all of a sudden, when you're in those spots, well, okay, it's not a good Frager night last night. It was kind of masked for a little while, but once again, not particularly a creator. And then, Sam tried to get downhill and, didn't, oftentimes just kind of picked it up and tried to kick and make plays for other people. So,
and it just felt like if he was able to find someone,
and like I said, they were just hounding Sanford, all night long.
This is the way everybody's probably playing them the rest of the year. It's the way they've been playing them for a while. So we'll see how they pick up against Iowa. It's going to be another heavy pressure game from Iowa. Wow. I think
Japanese prison balls is very mad at me on YouTube.
About what?
Well, he said that I am a bad word, and then I don't know ball, and that Sam is not a playmaker, and that Lawrence is the closest to a playmaker they have, which I couldn't tell you how much I disagree with all three of those things.
Please rank them.
Jamarcus is the closest to a playmaker they have, 1.
Okay.
Sam is not a playmaker, 2, and then I don't know ball, 3. I guess that's
what about
the
fourth one? Whatever he called you, is that 4th?
Well, I disagree with it, but I suppose that's just
subjective.
Subjective, yeah.
I mean, the other ones are too, but maybe the most subjective.
Yeah, right.
Or the highest amount of bias contained in it.
Exactly. I personally disagree with that, but maybe other people would.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. So
fair enough.
It was, to bring it all together, I suppose. And I think you can kind of flush it. You take it with a grain of salt, but you also take things from the game that could be concerning or whatever going forward. But as a team and what they've accomplished this year, especially in the regular season, like, the book has been written. The book is written, and then the rest is still unwritten.
Yeah,
Thank you,
we'll
Natasha
see how they
Bedingfield.
respond to it.
You didn't even give me a shout out for the Natasha Bedingfield drop. How dare you? I thought you were a fan of early 2000s music.
The story is your own.
Unbelievable.
Isn't that part of the story is my own? That's part of the lyrics.
Is that song?
I think so.
I'm talking about the song Unwritten by Natasha Bedingfield.
Yeah, no, I know it.
Okay. All right. Anyway, let's take a break. We'll come back. I want to get your thoughts. 402-951-1620. We'll see if Schaefer could find the right lyrics to the song that he's referencing. And we'll be back after this on 1620 The Zone. All right, welcome back. Happer and Schaefer on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com. Girl Scout cookies for a year. That's right. Do I have your attention yet? Head to 1620thezone.com for your chance to win a year supply of Girl Scout cookies, brought to you by the Girl Scout Spirit of Nebraska. And make sure you enter before Sunday night. Sounds like we'll draw for this at some point next week. All right, so Girl Scout cookies for a year. That sounds awesome to me. We'll try to, well, we won't dive deep into the YouTube comments because I don't want to get into the world of like, here's why I get to talk about basketball on the radio. But there is somebody in the YouTube chat is very, very curious about our credentials and things like that. I don't feel like that needs to be explained. I don't think you would need to play in the NBA or in college basketball to be able to talk about basketball. Yeah, it's okay. It's all right. There's now I know this would be hard to believe, but there's a lot dumber people than me who talk about sports on the radio with a with
television. And the television.
And the television.
Yeah, there's other mediums where people can be dumb.
Now, how many more people are dumber than me? That's up for you to decide.
Yeah, very much up for debate, I'm sure.
All right, to the email inbox, here's Terry. He says, my 2 cents. This is the Equitable Bank inbox. He says, hi, guys. Why has Nebraska been stumbling lately? Here's my analysis. He has 5 reasons. Number 1, during the streak, Nebraska had a different player who would be the game's highest scorer. It was hard to cover everyone. Not that I'm complaining that Sanford has ascended to the man. It just makes defending us easy if no one else can get 20. 2, any thought on that? I mean, that's a sort of a simplistic way to look at it, but I don't know that it's false.
Yeah. Oh, well, I mean, that was one of the hallmarks of it is that, Nebraska has all these different guys. And that's sort of where, Jamarcus has the Indiana game and Price Sanford, I think, scores like 12 points. Rink Mass has the critical shots against Michigan State. Prager has his like run of 20-point games when you're playing Washington or not Washington. That's the one he got hurt. You're playing Oregon and other teams. Like you just have these things. You had the first half where Sam Hoiberg was the only one making shots up in Minneapolis. They've kind of had it where if other guys are off, someone else has just sort of stepped in. So I get what he's saying. Now,
I also don't think it's as simple as
that also sort of speaks to what they were playing up until what they're playing now.
Exactly. I think that's a point that has not been
why you're losing games is you're playing the toughest stretch of your schedule, full stop.
I agree.
And you're playing better teams. It's harder to beat better teams.
And it's late in the season. I mean, I don't think that point has probably been emphasized enough. So you could look at it in the vacuum of like these players just aren't hot right now. I have viewed Nebraska as a unit all season long because that's when I think they're at their best. And so I take the individual stuff. I try to take the individual stuff out of it as much as I can. And right now, while you're seeing the unit, not be quite as good as, I mean, there's a variety of different reasons individually, like Terry says, or like anybody else has been saying, but also it's late in the season. You're worn down. It's 30 games now. You're playing better teams. Everybody knows your scout. You got a lot of stuff on tape and all those things. Like teams are going to have a little bit more answers and so Nebraska's way to get out of this is to continue to do what they've been doing harder. You know what I mean? Like I think, they probably need to get a little bit more physical and fight through some things, whether it be offensively or defensively. And so there's no panic here. Yeah. Nebraska's just got to do what it does a little bit better. And that's the story.
There's no magic solution to any of it. It's you have to go back to playing your version of basketball, and that's getting those open looks, trying to convert them, playing great defense, chasing teams as much as you can. And then to something you said that I probably didn't give enough credit to last night, when we talk about Nebraska's margin being smaller because they're not as athletic and all of these other things, you can't lose as many of the 50-50s as you did last
100%.
And so that's probably one of the biggest takeaways that Hoiberg has, independent of how UCLA shot or how Nebraska shot, is one of the things that you can always control is how hard you're going for the ball, how you're doing in terms of closing out a rebound, securing the ball, all of these different things. UCLA out-hustled them, which is also something we haven't seen a lot of last night.
I'm just thinking about this now and I don't know how this will land, but like, I think at times, and I get it, like, it's tough the way games are officiated and stuff like that. I think they need to stop throwing their arms up in the air. I think there's
Did they do a lot of that last night?
Last night, I think
I felt like the officiating largely was favorable to them.
Interesting.
Other than that 1 5-point segment, I mean, they had more free throws attempted than UCLA for a large stretch of that game.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I think it may have reached a point, and it was probably a combo of how much they were struggling just offensively and a couple of things going not their way. But I saw a couple palms up, and I saw a few arms in the air. I'm like, just got to fight through some of this stuff. So there was a little bit of that last night. And like I said, some of that is just frustration, general frustration about the way things are going in the game. So I hope that doesn't carry on going forward. All right. Number 2 from Terry says Mass and Lawrence haven't been as good since the flu. Mass is showing signs of getting back to himself, but Lawrence hasn't. 3, too many turnovers. They were a clean team during the streak. 4, missing front ends of 1-and-1s. Not sure how it would have made a difference last night, but they did this twice. I mean, it helps. And 5,
they haven't shot free throws particularly well for a stretch here, right? Like, I mean, you had the Purdue game where it definitely cost you. They missed free throws against Iowa. Or I think they did. I might be misremembering that. But it feels like they haven't been as crisp as they were at other times, as this bug has now entered the studio. Look at that thing.
Oh, hi, Mr. Bug. That's cool. I don't know. I anecdotally, it doesn't feel like they've been shooting free throws particularly well lately. And then the 5th thing from Terry was, or there's more tape on them now. We don't have any answers to their answers. Could be tough if Nebraska loses Sunday and goes into the Big Ten tournament on a 2-game bender. Yeah, like, once again, I think there is some stuff obviously to be concerned about. I also think it's important to know, and if you take one thing away from this last 40 minutes or whatever, maybe, I don't know, I think we would both agree on this. Like, this stuff just doesn't happen in a vacuum.
No.
Like, the other teams are getting better, and it is late in the year, and it's like these are teams that are fighting for their lives with home court advantages and like all these other things. I think it's unfair to Nebraska to look at it like, hey, Lawrence isn't playing, well right now, or this isn't happening right now, and you're starting to lose this way and this way and this way and this way. Because I thought a lot of what happened last night was instigated by UCLA. Like, I just thought they did a really good job on Nebraska. You know? And Nebraska has to find answers to those questions, better answers to those to those questions that approach them in any given game. But I don't want to take away any credit from the teams that have beat them this year, because I think they've beat them fairly and squarely. You know what I mean?
I mean, the other part of this is, like, just look at what happened last night throughout the landscape of college basketball.
Yeah, teams lose.
Texas Tech loses to TCU. Alabama loses to Georgia. Kansas loses to Arizona State. Like, you just have, North Carolina was in a fight with Clemson. Like, this is just what it is.
At the same time, you do want to be feeling good about yourself when you get into this portion of the year. And I don't know that, like, last night is like a derailer in that category.
I definitely don't think it is. Like, I genuinely don't think this team is going to overthink what happened in that game on the second end of a not week long, but close to week long road trip. In a place that's been difficult for other teams to play, and they had literally in 30 games one stinker. Like, that's basically what this is. This is their worst game in 30 games this year against a tournament team, and they lost by 20. And they were bad in every aspect. I just don't think we're going to see that very often or again this season.
We will take a quick call in a second. One more question, I suppose, antagonistically from Japanese prison balls. Perfect opportunity. Tell me specifically what you saw UCLA do on defense that changed the game. Oh, I just think in general, because sometimes we do speak in generalities, it was the pressure that they applied to Nebraska, like the individual one-on-one relentless pressure that sometimes, I don't think Nebraska sees that every night. I don't think they have seen it during when they were winning and in some of the games they've lost, with the exception of Iowa, who really pressured one-on-one. Like we're talking about up on ball handlers.
I think
like
USC
making
did
it really
Nebraska
difficult to
responded well in the second half,
making it really difficult to initiate offense. I thought Nebraska just, they were there on the catch like every single time last night. That's what it was. From a scheme perspective, like I don't know. Maybe that makes me an idiot, but I just thought the pressure bothered Nebraska.
Yeah, I think the pressure has been there from other teams. They've just been able to answer it with their own defense, bailing them out and turning it into offense. They didn't have it last night.
All right, quick call, if we can make it so, from random Mike on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline. Hi, Mike. Good morning.
Hey, it'll be quick. If we shoot like that, we will lose. Or whoever shoots like we shot. I mean, every kind of shot imaginable, you're going to lose and probably lose big. Yeah, there was pressure. But there were, as Schaefer said, there were a lot of open shots. Missing both free throws. Sammy, let me tell you something. I think you're a little tough on Jamarcus, and he has had serious flu, and a bunch of them have, and that's a big thing. They need energy. Would you agree? As much as any team,
100%.
They need energy.
100%.
And they're not that deep. I'm trying to look at the positives briefly. He said that Garcia had his best week of practice, and Garcia's been kind of positive when he's been in there. And we know he won a game for him earlier. And my goodness, Berkey, can you make some shots? Good Lord. And they say he makes them in practice. And remember in the Michigan game, if he just dunks the ball or makes layups, we win that game. Every game we lost was very winnable, except this one. So I'm trying to be positive, get healthy, and get some help from guys that haven't been doing it. So hey, take care.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it. You would like to see. I mean, it would really help Nebraska's offense if Berkey became a threat offensively, but I don't know. I don't really see that.
I think he's largely a defensive-oriented player. Exactly. You take his shots when you take his shots, more or less.
He made one last night and missed
very early in the game.
Missed the three like miles short, just barely grazing. He almost got added to the airball list.
Yeah, because it was Sanford, Frager, and then I think Lawrence had one. So Berkey could have joined the club.
Yeah,
not the club you really want to join though.
He did not. He missed the club just by ever so slightly last night. All right, we'll come back. We'll still take your thoughts on that. We can get more into Nebraska ball. I have that Matt Rhule topic coming up at 8:00, so stay tuned for that. But first, the headlines on 1620 The Zone. All right, get to the headlines in a second. Here's a headline from me. Did anybody see the pigeon doctor GIF yesterday? All right.
No.
I figured that'd be your reaction. What? Did you see the pigeon doctor?
Of course I didn't see
Oh, man, it's
doctor.
very funny. I don't get it, though.
There are times where I'm like, I wonder what Connor is about to say here. And I never would have put the words pigeon and doctor in succession.
There's a 3-minute YouTube video that
3 minutes.
Yeah, that will supposedly explain the pigeon doctor thing to me.
That is too much time for something I do not care about.
Okay, hold on. There's an article from knowyourmeme.com. A dramatic AI video of the pigeon doctor with aura is going viral, and it's giving people the confidence they need to overcome their fears. The video has been spreading across short-form video sites like TikTok and Reels since January, and now it's gone mainstream. But where did the pigeon doctor come? What is this, a recipe website by a Midwestern mother? At the beginning of 2026, TikToker user Dr. Pigeon. Yeah, I know what the meme is, but why? Okay, there's really no reason why. It's just a random thing.
So it's
go.
an AI video that makes people feel better?
I don't think it does that to people. I think that was just a way to get more words into the article. But here he is. If you want to take a look, there's a pigeon in a doctor suit, and he's walking down the hallway like he's about to kick somebody's ass.
Right. Is that the whole video?
That's it. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's all he does.
All right. Well,
Look forward to it. Schaefer, you're going to see Pigeon Doctor today.
I will let you know if I do.
Oh, you will. You will. All right, Joey, headlines. What do we got?
First one, Florida football coach John Sumrall's photo shoot with a 7-foot alligator includes some tense moments.
I saw the video. I'm interested in hearing more about it if there is more. Also, did you see the pelican in the college baseball game? Yes, there was a pelican on the field that stopped play.
Just hanging out on the field?
We have mentioned a lot of animals during this segment so far.
Yeah, we had that bug that was flying. Not an animal.
It's true.
It's an
at
insect.
least in here. Let's hear the next one.
Alleged getaway driver arrested after gunmen steal $116,000 in Pokemon cords from PokeCourt.
What's a
I don't know. I think that's a pun or something in the headline.
I think on just principle, we're gonna pick the first one.
Perfect. I'm glad you said that.
I agree completely.
All right, Florida.
I think the show largely
We need that.
Yeah.
Yep, we need that.
We finally
set
got a
that
sports
standard
one.
and stick to it.
Mm-hmm.
Florida coach John Sumrall has a new appreciation for the Gator chomp. Sumrall got hissed at and snapped at while posing for promotional pictures with a live alligator last week. It was enough to prompt Sumrall to backpedal like his college playing days at Kentucky. I'm pretty certain I'd look like Chubbs from Happy Gilmore if the alligator had gotten close to my hand, Sumrall joked on Tuesday following his spring practice at Florida.
What's the closest you've ever been to an alligator?
I held one.
Whoa.
I never held one.
I guess I have held one too. They do the wildlife encounters at the Storm Chasers game. Sometimes it is like a tiny baby alligator.
Yeah, no, same. I did
I'm talking about like a real life.
Yeah, so I did my bachelor party was down in New Orleans, and we went out on swamp boats, and we did an alligator crawl basically, where this guy who knows everything there is to ever know about the bayou and gators took us out on his airboat and took us to the spots where the alligators would be and brought a couple of them onto the boat to show us and everything else.
Interesting. By the way, that's
I've been relatively close to alligators.
That's pretty good. I mean, that counts.
Yeah, like
Absolutely.
having, a professional around that would know what to do, but I wasn't there. At no point was anyone concerned. Most of it was just to be on a boat in the bayou drinking and then go eat some seafood
there just happened to be some alligators.
Yeah, exactly.
Got it. So apparently Sumrall was expecting something like what I encountered at the wildlife encounters at the Storm Chasers game. He said, quote, "In my mind, I had this visual image of we're going to have a little baby alligator, like a 1-foot alligator you might see in a riverboat cruise in Louisiana, mouths taped." He said, "I walked up and there's a 7-foot alligator." He said, "What's going on here?" They're like, "We're going to take some pictures. You can get this close." I'm like, "Look, during COVID, I wasn't allowed to get this close to people. I don't know about an alligator," is what John Sumrall says. He, of course, survived the encounter.
That's good.
Survived.
I want more
live,
quotes from John Summerall.
he will live on to be the Florida head coach. So congratulations to John.
I know this isn't the story, and I don't know how much time we have, but do you think that he will be a more successful Florida hire than their last 5?
I have no reason to believe that.
I don't either.
I have a hard time believing it.
He's basically Billy Napier again.
I don't understand why they did this.
They keep doing this.
Go. You're winning at this conference that isn't the SEC. We'll bring you in, and then everyone will be mad at you immediately.
Yeah, I'm sure he's a great guy or whatever, but like I have no reason to believe that he'll have more success than his predecessors. All right, thank you, Joey, for the headlines. We'll be back 8:00 hour after this on 1620 The Zone.
All right, welcome back. 8 o'clock hour, Happer and Schaefer on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com. Today, postseason basketball is, well, I guess we've had a couple of the tiny conference tournaments going. I already saw that there's at least one team eliminated from postseason play. There were some smaller conference tournaments going on.
They did a play-in or something.
Yeah, there was some play-in to some random small conference tournament, which, I mean, we got a lot of different formats out there for conference tournaments. But in the Big Ten on the women's side, Nebraska will go today at 2:30. Likely, according to most pundits, needing to win to at least put themselves in a best position to get into the NCAA tournament. The 18-11 Huskers against Indiana today, 2:30 on the BTN.
Winner gets Washington.
No, I'm sorry, on the Peacock, not on the BTN.
Peacock.
On the Peacock
At 2:30, you say?
at 2:30.
All right, I'll throw it on this afternoon.
They are 25th in the net, but they have gone, I believe it's 0-8 against the top, 8 or 10 teams in the Big Ten, and all those teams are going to be top 4 seeds in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah,
They weren't really close to picking off a whole lot of them, but the ones they did get close to, they weren't able to finish the job.
Right. The net for them specifically is very much a product of that conference being so strong, it's hard to move down.
Indeed. Adding UCLA, Oregon, and Washington and USC has bolstered the conference.
Quite a bit, I would guess.
Uh-huh.
Ohio Valley Conference, Big South Conference today will have a championship or conference championship game.
I want to see their brackets.
I will pull that up.
Show me your brackets, because I want to know what they look like and how many buys they have. I know that there's some conference tournaments that will play at home sites, like for the first 2 games or somewhere around and then they'll, like, the top 4 will make it. And it'll be in, won't quote unquote make it, but they'll make it to the final destination, which is like Detroit in the OVC or something like that, whatever it might be. It's always Detroit.
All right, so there's 3 games today. Do you want them?
Yes, absolutely.
We have the 5 versus 8 in the Ohio Valley Conference.
Who do we got?
That would be Southern Illinois University, Edwardsville.
Oh, not the Salukis. Thank God I'd have somebody to root against if it was the Salukis.
Versus Tony Romo's Eastern Illinois.
All right. Winner gets?
Winner would get UT Martin tomorrow on Thursday.
And this is in what conference? The OVC?
This is the OVC, where the top 2 teams get a double bye into Friday's semifinal.
And then the
other game in the bottom half of the bracket, Lindenwood will take on Little Rock, with the winner getting Southeast Missouri State.
Wow, Lindenwood they must have moved to D1 relatively recently, right? They used to be a D2.
Lindenwood's been D1 for a while.
Really?
They came out to play. No. I'm thinking of Longwood. There's both a Longwood and a Lindenwood.
Yeah.
Lindenwood is out of St. Louis. Area. Yeah, they did recently just move to D1.
They've done the circuit for around here for a long time.
You're right on that. I was thinking of Longwood, who Nebraska played like 15 years ago in a
Creighton's played some Longwood
before they were MTE, and Paul Millsap was on the Louisiana Tech team that I watched Nebraska play.
Nice.
Yeah, I watched like Paul Millsap collect 18 rebounds. I was like, that guy's pretty good. Didn't think anything of it. Had a pretty nice NBA
played like
career.
20 years in the NBA. Yeah. Pretty good. Well, it probably wasn't 20, but in that,
he had a long career.
It was definitely long. All right, Sam Mchuan from the World Herald is going to join us coming up at 8:30, and we are back here on Happer and Schaefer. Okay, so here's my Matt Rhule topic. All right, so it's inspired by this list that came out from The Athletic a couple days ago. Who will be coaching your school in 2030? Have you seen this? Have you heard about this, Schaefer? Have you seen this topic?
I haven't seen the topic. I haven't seen the list. I will now click on the list.
Who will be coaching your school in 2030? Predicting
I love the idea.
Every Power 4 football program's head man. And you go down, I mean, there's some sort of interesting ones. I was sort of interested in like the turnover, but obviously we're talking about 4 years in the future here. So especially at this day and age in college football, it's a little bit like that actually seems very far away, especially when you consider that it is 2030 and it's in a whole new decade anyway. The person that they have chosen to be Nebraska's head coach in 2030 is not Matt Rhule. It is Jake Dickert, the Wake Forest head coach. Currently, he says Dickert's first season at Wake Forest. Where was he the coach before? Was he at Washington
State?
Yeah. At Wake Forest, produced a surprising 9 wins after an impressive stint under difficult circumstances at Washington State. Probably should have just read that. The 42-year-old Wisconsin native has future Big Ten coach written all over him, which you might think that would be Wisconsin to lose if he was a rising coach or whatever, and they have another man who is earmarked.
Maybe the easiest prediction in this entire thing.
He is earmarked for that job, Jason.
By me and literally everyone else.
Yep.
Jason Eck will be the head coach at Wisconsin in 2030.
There you go. He might even be the head coach at Wisconsin next year.
Could be.
We haven't dug into your hatred of the Wisconsin Assance at this point, but we still have time for that. So here's where my brain went. Is it crazy to say that if Rhule makes it through this year without completely falling off the rails, and I guess there's some debate as to like what that means, but I am under the impression that in general this thing won't completely go off the rails. We've talked about it before, Schaefer. Like, we think there's a certain raised floor to what they're doing, and I do think that is the case. So I don't really think this is going off the rails, but I do think people would tell you that this year is an important year. They're all important years, but this year is an important year to sort of steer the common perception back in the right direction. I kind of feel like people are thinking that it's veering off a little bit near exiting the interstate. They got to just get that thing back in the right lane. So is it crazy to say that if he makes it through this year without it completely falling off the rails, that Matt Rhule could be like a modern 7 or 8 win version of Bo? And, Bo was, people always say, well, Bo Pelini, he won 9 games. Yeah, he did. But it's a different time and a different conference. And, I think you could be Bo Pelini, and Bo Pelini is a 7 or 8 win coach these days. And yeah, maybe that puts different context on it, but I do think it's a little bit more difficult to win 9 games now than it was in 2012. That's we could argue about that. Where people aren't really ever going to be thrilled, but it's not a complete disaster, and you're generally winning. Would he put up with that? Would he want to do that? And would people be interested in doing that?
I think he would want to do that. One of the things about Matt Rhule that I genuinely believe is that he wants to be here at Nebraska and have success here, not just because he's being paid whatever else.
You don't think he could reach the point where he gets frustrated by all the just chatter? Just
not sure. I mean, I think anybody could. I think the reality is
if it comes up like 4 years in a row in the offseason where it's like, I hate this guy, and they gotta they got to do damage control on their image all the time, which they're kind of doing a little bit. Like, I feel like he would get annoyed with that.
I think he would, but I also don't here's the thing. He's not just going to leave a job where he has that kind of salary and that sort of buyout.
And there's stability. Like, Nebraska can offer that.
That's the other thing. And there's definite stability. I think he likes, part of this is Troy Dannon still here, are these elements still involved with it? If the answers to those are yes, and he's comfortable with things, I don't know that I see him necessarily going anywhere. You say Bo Pelini, what comes to mind with sort of how this has gone for Nebraska is a person Bo Pelini is very familiar with, Mark Stoops, which is not exactly something that people want to get fired up about.
Different
base of where you're at.
Correct, because at Kentucky,
Nebraska versus Kentucky.
At Kentucky with football, it's just like, oh my God, if we could jump up and win 10 one year, right. I'd be the happiest person on.
And they did it one time.
And
so, but what I'm sort of getting at is I think coaches
pretty consistent for a good period of time.
I think coaches like that can sort of carve out at spots. And I think Nebraska is going to be less likely to just dump a coach that's sitting in that realm now, having done it, than maybe where they were before.
Did you know that Did you know that Kentucky had to vacate their 10 wins from that season?
I did not know that they had to vacate their 2018 season. No, so they had two of them. They had 2018, they went 10
2021.
2021, they went 10-3. I did not know they had to vacate that.
I didn't either. Not that anyone cares, but like,
or
officially,
like it's immediately like, well, they don't count, so it never happened.
No, nobody would ever think about that. But
Gretna still won that Class A state championship.
I watched it with my own eyes.
Great game.
It was a great game.
Congrats to Gretna.
Yeah. Okay. So this isn't bad, Schaefer. I mean, just as a comparison here. So
first place my mind went with where I realized how you were asking this question.
Stoops got to his 4th year and hadn't had a winning season yet. Then he went 7-6, 7-6, 10-3, 8-5. COVID year where he went 5-6, 10-3 again, 7-6, 7-6, 4-8, 5-7 fired. You know, that's pretty good. I mean, like, what if you took a screenshot of in between 2016 and 2023? So
I think even include 2015 if you want that to be 2023.
Right. So basically from his 3rd year up until his last 2, where it's basically an average of about 7 to 8 wins a year and then 2 jump ups for 10.
Yeah.
I wonder how people how people would react to that.
They're not signing that contract.
Would Rhule sign it?
Like from a financial and security standpoint, absolutely.
No, I mean, just like
I think he's way more competitive than like this is what I'd want a cap or ceiling at.
Right, but that's not really what I mean. Like,
Sure.
I just sort of like, do you think he would be?
His ambitions far exceed this.
If he were to look back at 7 or 8 seasons in a row and say, damn, we went to a bowl game every single year and we won 10 twice. Like, do you think he would look back at that and say, I think I did a pretty damn good job, like pat on the back, you know? I don't know. Like, I don't know.
He might.
I don't know what
without knowing all the circumstances. The one part about that where you said we went to a bowl game all these years, I do wonder what that sort of looks like when bowl games eventually just go away and you don't sort of have this kind of.
You can just say plus 500.
Yeah, but it's still like I feel like bowl game has like a connotation that it was a successful season to a degree. Whereas
it can skew the numbers too.
You're like, well, they didn't make the college football playoff, but they won 8 games, and it's kind of like, what do I do with my hands here, sort of thing.
Well, in that, I mean, that's sort of interesting because, like I said, it can skew the numbers a little bit, and not all 7 and 6 seasons are created equal. Right. I think as we've seen before, they lost the last 2 bowl games they went to. Did Kentucky, so they were 7-5 going into both of those, and they lost them both.
Good symmetry. Lost the first 2, won 4 straight, lost the last 2.
Yeah.
Little sandwich.
Now in this outlook, not that this is the only guy that we could compare him to, but it's kind of fascinating. But in this outlook, I don't think they make the playoffs at all. Maybe once or twice in those 10-win seasons.
I mean, when we have a 48-team playoff in a few years, they will.
But let's just pretend in a fantasy world it stays at 12.
Oh my god!
Like,
do we live in this fantasy world?
Is Kentucky making any of the 12-team playoffs
Not in
for any
the
of
current
these
iteration
years?
of a playoff?
Yeah, no, I don't think so. So like, you give them that, you give people that, and they say, look, I got this guy. Here's what's going to happen. He's going to be pretty solid. You're not going to be like overtly angry for a long period of time, a decade or so, but he's never going to go to the playoff. He might threaten twice in a decade. Like, okay. What do we do with that?
I don't know. I really don't.
And to the point from earlier,
but I think this is more likely of the scenario.
Is that modern day Bo? Like, I
think it is.
I think that's modern day Bo.
So let me ask you a similar kind of question to what we're sort of discussing here, but you phrase it or you do it differently. Let's say unequivocally, no doubt, Matt Rhule is still the head coach in 2030.
Okay.
So that would mean 26, 27, 28, 29. 4 seasons.
4 more.
4 more seasons.
After 3.
You know for
7 years. Exactly the same amount as Bo.
That they have Matt Rhule as the coach in 2030. If they don't make the playoff in any of those 4 seasons, do you believe that statement could still be true?
Yes.
I do too.
Yes.
And I think there's people
doesn't
that
have
are
to-
like,
yeah.
absolutely do not believe that to be the case. I think Nebraska, and we
I think
talk
depending
about,
on how it looks, I mean, I would advocate for it.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I would need to see sort of how things play out.
Right.
But I think Nebraska, having let go of Frank Solich, having let go of Bo Pelini, would be this you could consider to be the overcorrection, on the other end of things, would be very slow to moving on from a coach that consistently would have them in that 8 to 9 win window, if only because, one, I think the playoff will expand. I don't think it'll stay at 12. I think we're heading to that, unfortunately. And then I agree. I 100% agree. The other part of it is, if you consistently have a coach that's getting you to 8, you can always tell yourself, hey, in that 1 year, we could get to 10. We could get to 11. I think people,
possible.
having gone through sort of what they have, are maybe going to be more willing to put up with that for a little bit.
Yeah, now
I
this
don't
is
just think the appetite for Nebraska football is going to change if you're consistently being a 7 or 8 win team.
now. Keep in mind, this is a super 40,000 foot
Yeah,
view.
like this is a
the,
very unique to us conversation.
this removes any emotion from it, and any.
We don't know what it looks like.
Yeah,
we don't know what the 4 losses.
We don't know
would be.
off the field. Like
Right.
we don't know what the heck's going on. But John emails in on the Equitable Bank inbox. He says, Rhule won't run it off the rails this season. Sims won't continue to turn the ball over 50% of the plays. Satterfield is a good offensive coordinator. God,
This bit, man.
it's a pretty funny bit. I don't know that maybe I don't remember saying that Satterfield was a good offensive coordinator, but I probably am guilty of it.
I didn't say he was a good offensive coordinator. I do think I defended him more than most did.
The first part I definitely did say about Sims continuing to
You
not
played
be
the
on it.
percentages.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, he's not going to historically turn the ball over every time he touches it. And he did. That was just an unlucky play by me. We hit the 00 on the roulette wheel. Like
The
a lot.
worst. The absolute worst.
Yeah, you bet that? I don't.
I refuse.
I will never.
The idea of betting green in roulette makes me angry.
Brian writes in on the Equitable Bank inbox. He says, does Rhule's 2027 recruiting help his stability past this year, even if it drops off a little?
I mean, part of this to me is if you go get Trey Taylor, and I think that they will, I think they're going to keep him. Like, I think Trey Taylor, who might very well end up being or what people had hoped Dylan Raiola would be. We'll see. We'll find out. That's a long way away. But if you go get Trey Taylor and you continue to stack this class up, people are going to be very interested in at least a 2-year window of how that plays out. And if you stack that up with, you hit on a few portal guys, you stash away some portal guys that are better in the future than they are in the immediate of 26.
Yeah.
The biggest thing is
that's no way to live, though. You don't want to be like, hey, look at the future, look at the future, look at the future, because you're going to be in year 5 and you're going to be like, hey, we got to wait till Trey Taylor's sophomore year. It's going to be cool. Don't worry.
You make these, but I like Joey saved this audio and we're in 2027. We can play. It could be an audio time capsule.
That would sound really funny. Joey marked it already. Joey, put it in a time capsule for 2028 and
will do.
The offseason going into 2028.
It plays for us.
Sounds so stupid.
I'll set a reminder.
What is football? This is a basketball.
How many teams are in this stupid playoff?
Oh, that was the year Nebraska won the national championship in basketball?
I was going to say the exact opposite. I was going to say Nebraska ball still hasn't won an NCAA tournament game.
No! How dare you?
Sorry. All right, let's take a break. Food for thought. Once again, super big picture conversation.
We're way out there.
But let us know, 402-951-1620. And of course, feel free to tweet at the show. We'll get to some of those reactions, but not until after we speak with Sam Mchuan from the Omaha World Herald. Coming up next on 1620 The Zone. All right, welcome back. Connor Happer, Mike Schaefer with you on Happer and Schaefer on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com. Support the Open Door Mission and our sister station, Sweet 98.5, by donating toilet paper for their TP Drive this Saturday, March 7th, 10 to 1 at Family Fair at 108th and Maple. Or if you can't make it to the event, you could donate online at sweet985.com or opendoormission.org/give-98TP-drive. Check that out. I'm sure it'll be linked on the Sweet 98.5 website. We're joined now on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone Hotline by our good friend Sam Mchuan from the Omaha World Herald. Hi, Sam. Good morning.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Good. Are you? Did you make it all the way to the end of the game last night?
All the way.
Yeah, you're a late night guy anyway.
Sam seems
right?
like a night owl.
He is, because he watches NBA playoff games that nobody else watches.
That's right. Yeah. Well,
there's a lot in that statement to unpack.
Yeah, there was. This is like when you get to the end of Inside the NBA. It's about the same time as when the Nebraska
pretty much
basketball game ended, and yeah, I mean it was an ugly game. I thought they would lose. I wasn't stunned by the defeat. But certainly they didn't want to lose like that. I mean, that was not the way you want to finish the road trip.
Is there any like big picture concerns, or I mean, you said you thought they'd lose it anyway, and I think you've been predicting that for a while. So, or is it just more of like all right, flush it and move on, or are there any big picture concerns out of it for you?
I don't know that I would call it a concern. I've kind of been thinking for a bit now that Nebraska has almost like these two different stories that they're pursuing at the end of this season. One story is, well, we're going to make history and, we're going to win the first NCAA tournament game by beating some 14 or 13 seed in the tournament. And I actually think this team is uniquely suited to do that. It's a team of guys that I think identify and play like a Cinderella. The second part of the story is, can they make a run? And is this not just they made history and great for them, but is this now let's see if they can go and do more than that? And I think last night's game pointed to the challenges of making a run if you're, athletically, you're not matching up any better than you did against UCLA. You're really not getting anything at the rim. That was part of the issue last night. They didn't get much at the rim. I know Sam Hoiberg got there a couple of times, but it took some incredible shot making on his part. And so, this is what you're going to start seeing in the second round of NCAA tournaments, and that's just what it is. You look at the 6 seeds, and it's Kentucky and St. John's. These are teams that know how to play basketball. And so I think that's the second story. I'll be honest with you, I don't think Nebraska fans care that much about the second story. I think they want to win one game and enjoy what this has been for this season. But I do think internally within that team, if you're going to win one, why not win 3? And I had somebody come up to me over the weekend and say, do you think Nebraska can make the Final Four? And I think they wanted me to say yes. And I'm like, I don't think so, but maybe, they're going to have to play incredible, and they're going to have to get the right draw, because I think what we've seen over the last, month and a half is, now that teams have watched Nebraska and caught up with them a little bit, that you can neutralize their offense. And that's an area I think we're going to see Iowa try to do the exact same thing on Sunday. I think Nebraska will beat Iowa. They might beat them 48-43, but they'll beat them. But then you go right back into the question of okay, now you're going to start facing teams that are athletically as gifted as you are, and can you beat them at their own game?
So I guess what's interesting about that is, if you kick this thing forward, and there's a lot that has to happen. We'll see what happens with Sanford and Frager and all of those. But hypothetically, work with me on this. Let's say you get the core of what you want back. Where are you putting the bigger emphasis in your mind of what has to happen next? Is it they need to get a ball handler, which has been, you're going to lose Sam, and you're going to have Kale, but that's not the same player. You're going to lose Jamarcus, and that's not, that's what it sort of has been. Do you need to get this ball handler that you see that dominates throughout college basketball, or do you have to go get that upside big? it's so fascinating because there's so many different ways they can construct off of what would return. And I really don't know, other than it feels like Hoiberg would always kind of default to find a big man that can shoot a little bit because I want the floor space.
I think you laid it out really well. So we'll go to the first one. The point guard thing is, I don't know that they've had enough money to go out and get the guy that they wanted, whoever that guy might be. And I think they might have more money, but they're going to have to spend some of that on Sanford and Frager because those two guys are not going to be cheap. On the big man front, I think they can go out and find that guy. It's possible that Oogie is that player. He's obviously hurt this year, but he can probably bring some of those skill sets to the table. But they might want to go out and find another one of those guys, and I think they probably can. A Summit or Missouri Valley, good basketball player who can hit some shots. I think that's within their wheelhouse. That point guard thing's trickier. They've been trying to do it for years now. They lost a guy to Oklahoma. They lost a guy to West Virginia. They lost, a guy to another school. Like they have not been able to land that preeminent point guard. And so last year they had Raleigh Worcester, and Raleigh was okay, but then he got hurt, and then he wasn't very effective. And he was probably their first pick. I think their first pick might have been Atworth, who went to Creighton. So that role's tricky. And then by the end of that year, they had Bryce Williams running the point, and that was fine. But there was other things that were drawbacks with Bryce being the point because he's pretty good off the ball. So there's a lot of different things they can try. I think it'll probably come down to the money. And then one thing I will say is it's a hell of a lot of fun to play at Nebraska, and I assume Fred can sell that and say, look, when you're good here, this is fun, and you're playing in front of packed crowds in the Big Ten. You're traveling all over the place, and we may not be able to, this school over here might give you $200,000 more than we will, but they will not give you a better experience. And what you hope is that you're able to sell somebody on that. I don't know that they have a recruit that fits that definition at this moment. A guy that would come in like a Glenn Watson did way back in the day and just play the position for 4 years. I don't know that they have that player.
Really? Yeah,
they're hard to find.
It's been shown if you get a point guard and he's in here for a couple of years, you're going to have a chance. But it's a tough thing it's a tough needle to thread. That's for sure. Sam Mchuan from the World Herald joins us. Sam, let's go to football here a little bit. Today we will hear from Glenn Thomas and EJ Barthel, and I'm sure a few players as well. I'm sure the topic will be, with Thomas anyway, it'll be Anthony Calandria. I've found it interesting over the first few practices here and any media availability, like the conversation about Calandria is people are sort of wanting to know what the style of play is. We've been able to see it on film for a few years. I think at times, Sam, they're trying to not get into that too much because it leads down a road where they're comparing quarterback to last year's quarterback, and you get into a whole bunch of landmines in that conversation. What do you think we'll get from Glenn Thomas on that front today? Because people do want to know about what Calandria brings to the table.
I think Glenn will keep it pretty boilerplate, and I think they like Calandria based on what I've heard. But what really matters is how he does it when he plays in the Big Ten next year. That's what really matters, including staying healthy, which, you can't run around with abandon in the Big Ten. That's not going to work the way that it might have worked in the Mountain West when you're running around a guy from Air Force versus a guy even from Michigan State. So, there's some things he'll have to probably change and adjust when he gets to the league play. I think Glenn Thomas will keep it pretty boilerplate, and, he'll praise everybody. I think that's what they want to do. And I think they want to have a quarterback competition for all three of them and let them have a chance to. We may not hear from Latif today. I don't know. He may have a conflict, but they'll put them all out there and they'll let them all talk. I think what one question that will be asked is, just like the overall cohesion of the room, even though these guys are competing, how are they helping each other? And I think they'll have a good answer to that. Because I think last year a lot of energy was put around supporting Dylan because he was clearly the starter and he was the man. And Jalen Gramstad's job was to help Dylan, and TJ Lattice's job was to learn behind Dylan. I don't think that's the story this year. I think all three of them are developing, and all three of them are going to at least have a moment where they think, "Hey, I'm the starter of this team. I'm as good as any of these other guys," and we'll just see where it all shakes out. Calandria is a good football player, and I think should be the starter at Nebraska. But if you told me that, hey, he tweaked something and Danny Kalen's got to go out there, I'd be fine with Kalen doing it. And then I think Latif, although there's part of me that says it'd be great if he got a redshirt year to maybe put on some weight and just maybe get his feet all the way underneath him for the inevitable battle that's going to be between he and Trey Taylor next year. I think he can get the job done too. And then Trey Taylor's coming, and Trey's. I mean, I watched a lot of that 7-on-7 stuff this weekend, and Trey's got a special ability throwing the football. So, I'm sure Nebraska's really excited to get him in the building and start and unleash him in the competition.
This is sort of I don't even know how I'm going to preface this, so I'm not going to. I'm just going to ask the question. How do we determine if an offensive line, you get to the end of the year, how do we determine if an offensive line is good in 2026? Like, what is there a specific statistical measurement that we care the most about? Like, I feel like that's so much of this conversation is Nebraska's offensive line can elevate the rest of its offense. But in what ways do you think we have to actually sort of measure that? Or what would you use to kind of measure it?
It's a good question. I mean, I think some of it is visual. Some of it is you see if they're moving the line of scrimmage and if they're protecting the quarterback and if they're doing that effectively. I think that's some of it. You do look at, yards per carry and line yards gained and sacks allowed. I think that's relevant. I look at PFF grades. I think there's a lot of commentary about, how good was the line last year? Was it really good? Was it better than we thought? And it feels like there's a lot of, I don't know what it is. There feels like there's a lot of politics around it sometimes, which I don't really understand. I think Nebraska's offensive line was decent last year. I don't think it was like one of their best ever. And I think the hope is based on the money they spent on it, they're going to be better this year. And, I'm sure, the Minnesota game was horrible. Some of the other games was more, so-so. And then they had some really good games that were, where they dominated the opponent. I thought they dominated UCLA. It really wasn't all that close. So, I think that's just kind of the nature of the sport. But I'll look at the visual component of it and what they're trying to do and how they're trying to accomplish it. I remember, this is kind of an old story, but I remember going to scrimmages back in 1999 when Eric Crouch and Bobby Newcomb were battling for the starting job. But Bobby won for like a week or something, and then obviously he lost it.
Right.
But I remember going to those scrimmages, and you know what? Nebraska's offense, whether it was Crouch or Newcomb running it, didn't look very good because they were playing Nebraska's defense. And so, it's sometimes your offensive line's performance is relative to what they're facing on the other side. So Ohio State's offensive line was pretty good most of the year until they played Miami, and then they didn't look good at all. Texas Tech was okay on offense most of the year until they played Oregon. Like, all those things, Utah's offense looked really dang good until they played Texas Tech. Like, some of it is the guys that you got on the other side of the line of scrimmage and what they can do to you. And I think Nebraska's offensive line against the very best and most physical defenses last year, with the exception of Iowa, because I thought they played pretty well against Iowa, just didn't play very well. They didn't hold up as well as I'm sure they hoped. And so they are much larger. I think the mass is there. And according to Holgerson, they're more athletic too. So in theory, this should be an offensive line that gets a lot done for Nebraska.
Sam, how many games does Amy Williams' crew need to win starting today in Indianapolis to feel good about itself come Sunday?
One. I think they'll get in with one win. They beat Indiana today, and I think that's enough. I think absolutely safe would be 2, which would be beating Indiana today and beating Ohio State tomorrow. I don't think they're going to beat Ohio State. So I think that's a bad draw for Nebraska. Yeah, that team's got a couple players that Nebraska really hasn't stopped in several years, and so I think the run will end after today, and Nebraska will have to hope it's enough. And quite frankly, it should. I mean, its net ranking is in the 20s. You don't kick that team out of the NCAA tournament based on, well, their league was just too good. There's other teams that you can displace from the NCAA tournament instead. So I think Nebraska will make it, but if they win today, but it might be a first four kind of deal.
All right, Sam. Well, we appreciate the time as always. We'll catch up next week. Have a good rest of your week.
Take care.
Sam Mchuan from the Omaha World Herald. Now, I may have gotten that wrong. I believe Women's Selection Sunday it's not till next week still.
Yeah,
it's the same day.
They do it the same
the
Sunday
same
night.
day,
It's usually like at 8
But all the major
p.m.
conference tournaments are this weekend.
Yeah.
To get out of the
it's
way
completely
of next
flipped.
weekend's major conference tournament.
television.
Yeah.
It's completely flip flop with the men's on most of the conference tournaments.
Right. And then you just have to sit there for a week.
Which
Is like a mid-major. It's like being a mid-major
Yeah.
again. Just got to sit there for a week and then wait for your name either to get called or not called.
So you potentially have practices and you don't even know if you're going to play again.
Yeah, now in Nebraska's case, they're almost certainly playing again.
Yeah,
it's
it'd
just
be
where
the
and
NIT
when and
or-
against who. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know. I'd be surprised if they got left out, I guess, but there'd be a reason for it. Many. That's for sure. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back, round out the hour with well, we do have another opportunity for our dear friends, fellow NFC North fans here in studio to make fun of the Bears. Are you guys interested? The Mississippi River Bears?
I'm in.
All right. Back after this on 1620 The Zone. Well, it wasn't maybe a good day yesterday if you were a Hammond Bears fan. Bears center Drew Dahlman, who is just 27 years old, is retiring after just 5 NFL seasons. Here's why it did not sit well with Bears fans. He played in his first 4 years in the NFL with the Falcons, and then was signed as like a pretty, high dollar, high priority free agent last offseason, where he signed a 3-year, $42 million contract with the Bears, meaning he had 2 years left on his deal after his first season with the Bears, where he played every single offensive snap and was a steady and reliable player all season long. In fact, one of the best as far as centers were concerned in the NFL all season long. He has decided to retire. Now, why would an age 27-year-old man decide to retire? For a variety of different reasons, and we don't know exactly what it is yet, but you would imagine there are some concerns about future health and things like that.
Future health being one, future location of where you're playing games, whether it's in the Quad Cities or, Hammond.
But yesterday, there was some people who took the opportunity to lash out at this situation because they thought that Bears fans thought they were being taken for a ride by this young man who most likely is just looking out for his own well-being here. I get it. It's frustrating. Like I said it yesterday, like I think it's okay to be disappointed here. Like, man, it's like when you're, when your favorite player in your college basketball team goes to the NBA a year earlier than he should or something like that. Yeah. You're like, damn, I wish we would have had him back. Like he should have came back. What's up? But you're not, like, you can be mad at the person, right? Like he's going off to the NBA. Yeah, he's going off to retire.
I know this isn't what we're talking about, but there is nothing I enjoy more than the way a fan base flips when a guy declares to go early, and it's like, well, he's not that good.
Yeah. Well, and I thought he was like in it for the love of the game. I thought he just loved Nebraska.
I enjoy that. So with Drew Dahlman, like people are upset about the money that they get back in the cap space.
They very much, the Psycho Bears fans very much want their money back, even though they didn't spend any money.
That's not how it works.
No.
Look,
they don't own the team.
Whatever they
you're also not entitled to any money, Joey, just so you know.
They wouldn't get their money back for the 2025 season.
No,
they can get back, it looks like $11.5 million, from the retirement because they didn't pay $2 million of the bonus, and the $9.5 that was guaranteed is no longer guaranteed. It's voided because of the retirement.
So you get some money.
So, it's not like they're out of nothing. They don't get the money back for services already rendered.
I saw somebody say that there should be draft compensation for this.
From who?
For what?
I don't know. I can't get inside
That couldn't have been a real person.
I'll go find it.
Real live.
I don't know.
They're so entitled for gifts for absolutely no reason. This retirement by their center is not going to do anything. Caleb Williams is still going to scramble around in that pocket and magically place a football in one of his receivers' hands. I don't think it's going to make any difference.
Interesting. I mean, to their win total and all of it, I agree. I just, whoever this person is that wanted draft compensation, like where is that coming from? The league?
I'm not sure what these people are thinking. Schaefer, I don't know.
I mean, they did choose to become Bears fans despite all evidence.
It's a choice.
I don't think they're probably thinking about things rationally, but
Yeah. I mean, like, I get it. It's totally, it is upsetting when someone chooses to not be with your team.
Mm-hmm.
Particularly when they could be good. I mean, the Vikings had Robert Smith retire in the middle of his prime. The Bears lost, both the Lions lost Calvin Johnson and Barry Sanders.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's not like there isn't a precedent for this, but you don't get draft compensation.
No, that's indeed not how it works. I don't know where I saw the tweet. I can't recover.
I want you
this.
to find it because I want the galaxy brain explanation as to how you'd be entitled to anything.
I was surprised that I didn't link it when I put this topic together last night, but I suppose I did not.
In the same vein, if a team cuts a player, do they get draft compensation for something else in their life? They just get to draft something?
Oh, interesting.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
I don't know what draft they would be entitled to. I don't know what just.
I think I know what happened.
Something fell?
I think Matt got angry.
About Bears talk?
Guaranteed. We've already received a tweet from him at Matt McMedia. Absolutely rich for Packers fan Joey to call Bears fans entitled. Now that is actually a fair criticism.
Did he slam his book bag down?
Yeah, I imagine he just kind of punched the wall.
I don't even know if he owns a book bag the way that he comes into the studio with everything that he has just cradled in his arms.
I know, that guy needs to get a bag.
There's a lot.
Maybe that's what he's arguing. He's like, I need the bag from Drew Dahlman's retirement. I didn't get the bag. I should be compensated with a bag.
Will the team throw Drew Dahlman a retirement party? Will they give him a nice not Weber grill for retiring?
I think they probably should.
They should for beating the Packers in the playoffs. I'll give them that. Hey, you did something to beat the Packers. You gave Caleb Williams extra time.
But it cost them everything.
It did.
Cost them everything.
And no draft compensation for them.
Not at all. We'll be back 9 o'clock hour coming up on 1620 The Zone. All right, welcome back. Just past 9 here on 1620 The Zone. Happer and Schaefer, 1620thezone.com as well. Have we hit all the topics with Nebraska basketball? I mean, we kind of just centrally focused it in that 7:00 hour. So if you missed any of that extended conversation, be sure to check it out. 1620thezone.com or on your podcast feeds. But long story short of it, we're sort of not bothered.
Yeah, I mean,
unbothered in the grand scheme of things.
I'm unbothered. I just don't, and some of it is maybe it's just a reaction to this idea anyways. I really don't love the referendum that we do in sports as it is for every game, doing it for a singular basketball game,
especially in basketball and
on a
baseball,
night, which again, you just saw a lot of teams lose. And this is kind of what's happened with Nebraska. Like when they have lost, it has also occurred around times where it should just remind you there's a reason that the team has their, a bunch of wins over here and then a smattering of losses over here. Like the smattering has to occur in the same framework in which the wins occur.
That's true, I suppose.
But people,
that's a long-winded way of saying sometimes things happen.
What I'm getting at though is you get asked, like, you'll be like, hey, what's Nebraska football's record going to be? And you're like, I don't know. Maybe they're going to be 7-5. Or, a few years ago, I'd be like, all right, I don't know how good it's going to be. I think they're going to be 6-6. And then 6 losses, who are they going to lose to? And it's like, well, I don't think it's not inconceivable that they could lose to Purdue at home. Purdue, how are they going to lose to Purdue?
Mm-hmm. I now know what you're saying.
Yeah, yes. So, like, we do this sometimes where it's inconceivable to us in the moment of anything that a team could possibly have the outcome that is not a win. And then they lose, and then it's just like...
Or possibly have the outcome that is not projected,
sure.
On paper.
And so then it's like, well, they lost. Does this tell a bigger picture of what is to come? Or is it just part of the total of losses that is amounted in a season?
I've asked you this before. Now, there is some of this that is applicable to what you're saying. Like, I just don't think people understand sample size or, frankly, understand the length of basketball seasons or whatever. There's a little bit of that. But I also wonder, I think I've asked you this before, Schaefer, like, if they didn't start 20-0, then does it always feel like the sky is falling after a loss? Or like if they're sort of like grinding out a 5 or a 6 or a 7 right now, like, is that a different feeling than you were on track to being I mean, you were undefeated, right? You were literally 20-0, and I don't know if anybody would have just told you at that point, hey, look, they're definitely going to they're going to be in the Final Four and they're going to be a 1 seed, because I think most people that I talked to said they'll lose a handful of games, and look up, they've lost exactly a handful of games.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it, and I think we had settled right around the idea that 26-5 or 25-6 was a realistic thing.
But I do think where you come from and then where you go, Cotton Eye Joe is an important part of this. Like, they started here and they just kind of ever so slightly came back to the pack, just in terms of record. And once again, we're talking about outcomes. That's it. Because I think they've stayed generally pretty consistent the entire year over the length of 30 games. But the losses obviously have started to pile up, certainly more so in the last 10 than the first 20. So it's different coming from that perspective than being your best at this time of the year, which from an outcome perspective, they are not at this moment. Doesn't mean they're not playing good basketball, but they're just not winning every game. I don't know. I think people have a hard time with that.
Yeah, definitely. And some of it is I'm trying to just go back and I think about, the 23-24, they lost a game at Ohio State on the road while they were trying to close out this run. And it was at that time like, oh man, like they let that one go. Like, is this going to hurt their chances of staying safely on? Are they going to go back to being a bubble team, et cetera, et cetera? I think a lot of it with Nebraska in recent history is they had the end of the year stretch they did last year. So everything gets framed in, when this team loses a game or 2 games, it starts to get away from them. They're going to fade really hard. They're just a team that fades at the end of the season, etc., which is not true in like a very general sense. Like
whether it's true or not, I mean, this is a different team,
right?
Like untether yourselves.
That in itself is something we do way too much in sports, where we talk about what the previous season or team did.
I mean, I'm guilty
in
of it
relation to what this upcoming game is.
I'm guilty of it because I always talk about pedigree, especially as it pertains to the NCAA tournament. You know, like I do think that matters. I think it matters for coaches. But Fred has NCAA tournament pedigree, so like it's not like I'm sitting here saying just because they've never won one means they can't ever win one. Like that's not where I'm at.
Well, it again, it's just like because they lost to Western Kentucky when they were a highly ranked team doesn't mean that they're going to lose to East Tennessee State in a few weeks. Like one has nothing to do with the other. Sam, like I said, laid this out pretty well, where there's just this duality with Nebraska versus any other team that would be going through this right now. Whereas you have the fan base is, man, just get the one so we don't have to hear about it anymore. And then it's also like, but since you're here,
you might as well rip off a few.
Like if you want to take games 2 and maybe 3, and then you go out in the Elite 8 and you're like, wow, what a year. There's that at the table too. There's a lot of things for different people. You have the people.
Win NCAA tournament games when you can is a great piece of advice, by the way. If you have the opportunity, win NCAA tournament games.
Generally, the best sports advice one could have is to win the games that's right directly in front of you and not bank on wins that may not be there in the future.
But people still do tank weirdly these days.
Just win so you could advance.
Exactly.
But there's all these like weird little threads in the Nebraska basketball season still going on. I have a friend that has been I'm in with a group chat, and he is committed to going to the NCAA tournament game no matter where it is, but he's on a very condensed schedule and he very much needs it to be on a Thursday instead of a Friday and all these other things. But that's not even what he's most freaking out about right now. He has like tied himself in a pretzel over the idea of Nebraska getting this super mega bye. And he was the one that's like, should be rooting for Purdue over Michigan State because they've got the tiebreaker against Michigan State. And if you play this all the way out and they end up with the same amount of losses as Purdue's going to go in over them. And then they're going to be the 5. And then they have to win another game. And then they would play Purdue. And then if they win that, they have to play. And it's like, dude,
it's okay.
Just like, stop. Like this isn't, but I just think there's different layers for everybody that's been around this. And then you just throw in the collective, like, the people that have been really into Nebraska basketball for a long time, it is getting closer. This is the wedding analogy.
Yeah.
It's not that they're getting cold feet.
It's getting it's
just like everything is hitting a little differently. It's a like there's only one more regular season game left, and if you do the math, like if they don't win this game and then they don't win a game in the Big Ten tournament, and then you turn around and it's like
I remember when when we were about to before the birth of my daughter, I remember that day being very weirdly or the day before or whatever, being very like weirdly like, this is the last time I'll do this without a child, and or like the summer or whatever, and this is the last time I'll do this before I have a child. Like my life will be different after this. And I imagine that's how the Nebraska basketball fans are walking the streets right now.
I will
this
say,
is the last time I will go to Brewski's before Nebraska wins the NCAA tournament game.
Basically, yeah.
Wow.
Then this
is the last time I'll ever see that refrigerator inside the end zone chained up.
Yeah. This could be the last free Peroni I ever get. Going back to I know this isn't our topic, but you saying that made me think of it. And I think our situations were a little bit similar. Getting the text telling me that we are going to the hospital at a specific time and a specific day. No, it wasn't that.
Oh yeah.
Ours was like a scheduled event.
Same.
And it's like, this is the weirdest thing that has ever been on my calendar in the history of my entire life.
Birth of child.
Become a dad.
Yeah.
So it's like, weird. We're scheduling it 8:00 Thursday night. Become a dad.
Yeah, that was definitely weird. Ours ended up getting delayed for the record.
I spent all day Thursday like, what am I? I'm not going to work after this. I'm off work for months. I'm not, so it's like, I don't care what Nebraska's doing. A lot of it was like, did I leave Brunson, BC enough stuff to help out with when I'm not going to be around? And then Nebraska was in the middle of their run in 23, 24. And it's like, man, I hope this kid doesn't come on Saturday when they're playing Michigan. I want to be watching that game. Those are the thoughts that were going through my mind at that time. So you extrapolate that to
you're thinking about everything.
Yeah.
You're thinking about everything.
And what you're doing is you're trying to distract yourself from the one result that lives in that corner of your brain.
The bad one or the good one?
Both. I mean, I know I said one result, but they're the same thing.
Yeah, right.
It's two sides. There's two sides of the same coin.
No, but you'll probably feel weird if you if they don't win, and then you'll be like, man, I was kind of a weirdo on Wednesday when I was walking around. This is the last time I'll do this before Nebraska wins an NCAA tournament game, and then they don't win.
This is the last cheesy burrito I'll ever have.
It's the last notification
This is
I'll
my
ever get
last
from
Jeff
Amigos.
Sims combo from Amigos.
By the way, to your friend in the group chat about the double, triple megabyte. I mean, Nebraska, didn't they clinch that last night?
No.
They need to win one more game.
They have to win one more game, or Purdue has to lose one more game, or Michigan State needs to lose 2 games, or like there's a bunch of scenarios here.
So, yeah.
They can still end up with the same record as Purdue, which would drop them below everyone else.
They would lose a tiebreaker scenario with they can't. Yeah, I suppose if they lose. Okay, so let me run it.
If they lose to Iowa,
if
Purdue
they lose
wins
to
out.
Iowa, Purdue finishes with Northwestern
and Wisconsin.
And
that Wisconsin game is by no means a layup for them.
No, it's definitely not. So let's just run that scenario real quick, and all the other favorites.
And Michigan State loses to Michigan, but it doesn't matter because they have a 1-game lead on everybody.
Yeah, you're right. Wow. Below.
No, trust me, I've gotten plenty of texts about this exact.
So Michigan
scenario.
State. What happens if they're all tied?
If they're all tied,
except for Michigan State, obviously.
Well, if they're all tied, like if Nebraska wins, and they can't because Purdue, I think, has now dropped out of this. But at one point, if they all had finished tied, it would have went.
Illinois would have to lose to Maryland.
Yeah.
Okay, let's just pretend that there's a fantasy world where that exists. So all 3 of Illinois, Purdue, and Nebraska are all 14-6. Nebraska loses that as well.
They basically have to beat Iowa to get in, or they need Purdue to lose again. Those are your scenarios.
It's amazing. Michigan State just very, very quietly.
They are the most unimpressive top 10 team. And I say that as someone who talked a lot about UConn.
Yeah.
I would take UConn over Michigan State in a single game scenario.
Ever so quietly, they're like, oh, yeah, by the way, we finished second in the Big Ten. And
I don't think there's anything quiet about them.
I kind of feel like they're quiet. I think they're quieter than Illinois, Nebraska, and Purdue.
I just feel like I guess to me, it's not that. Maybe their fan base isn't loud.
Maybe it's just because we're just used to them being at the top of the league every year. And I guess we're probably used to it with Purdue as well. But I'm not sure. It just feels like, oh, ho-hum.
Inside of those games against both Purdue and Illinois, I'm watching it. Even the Purdue one, which is just Michigan State said by another name. It's like, how are they actually winning this game?
I know.
Nothing about Michigan State is if Nebraska played Michigan State, I would feel confident that they could win. Like there's nothing about them that scares me. Nebraska plays Illinois, I'd feel nervous, like fairly nervous about it.
Well, you've seen one play out one way and another play out another.
Even ignoring that, though, like just the idea, Michigan State just feels weirdly flawed, weirdly human for a team that's like a top 10 team that people are talking about as a 2 seed.
I don't think they're any more flawed than Illinois. I don't think they're any more flawed.
My brain, but again,
Purdue,
if anything, my brain just comes back to seeing Illinois at their apex.
So who'd you take? I mean, I know this game just happened, but who'd you take in a one-off? Michigan State versus Purdue.
I thought Michigan State would win, but I think that again, like neither result would have surprised me. And then in the game, it's like, oh, there's Carr missing another shot. There's like a part of it was Purdue is really bad. Same like they played against Ohio State. Purdue has not played good basketball right now.
Yeah. I mean, like I would like you. I would call myself an equal believer in both teams, but I think more highly of both of them. I guess is where I'm sort of at.
Both of Michigan State and Purdue.
Yeah,
I mean,
then you do.
Yeah, maybe. I think we're probably in the same vein.
Okay.
I don't think that any of Illinois, Michigan State, Purdue, or Nebraska are likely to get to the Final Four. None of them, to me, are going to get there.
Yeah.
Does that
agreed?
Does that compute? Like, I just think they
Agreed.
all will, and it's various ways in which it happens, but I think they will all eventually fizzle out some way or some form. One of them probably by upset. Two of them running into a better team at some
They'll
point.
lose to the superior conference, the SEC. What a conference! Did you see what's going on in the SEC?
Would Florida be the only? Yeah.
Final Four capable team. Stay tuned. By the way, Georgia beat Alabama last night. And
yeah,
I've sort of been dabbling in getting back on the Alabama train.
You can get off the train.
I'm not off. I'm staying on.
Okay. Where does that train end though?
Like probably the Sweet 16.
Yeah, that's where I think a lot of these teams that I'm talking about.
I guess that's more about like bracket strategy. I might take Alabama. This could be a fun game. Like,
I like that you're strategizing a bracket that doesn't exist.
Yeah, that's great. So this could be fun. I'm trying to come up with a term for this. So if you put a label on each of those teams, so you just mentioned the Nebraska, Illinois, Michigan State, Purdue group. Like if you attached a round that they get to each of those teams. So let's just say they're all Sweet 16.
Okay.
Maybe Illinois is an Elite 8 or something like that, whatever it is. And then you attach a label to all of them, and then you have to tell me +1, -1, +2, -2, like what it could be or where you actually think they're going. That could be a weirdly convoluted and fun game that we can
we can set this up for tomorrow if you would like.
Okay, let's do it. Let's think about it.
I'm very interested in it. I think we'll be wildly different on some of these.
I think we will too.
So then we
and
can,
once again, for a
put
bracket
this in the time, like in the time capsule. Now this is only a couple week time capsule.
Yeah, a lot shorter than 2030.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, this is once again for a bracket that does not exist. But I would have Alabama like if Alabama has a Sweet 16 label, I'd do like +1.
That you think they could get to the Elite Eight?
Yeah. Fun conversation.
No, very fun conversation.
Although stupid.
Now, is there going to be a limit to how many times you can +1, or if you do?
No, you can +1 whoever you want. You don't have to actually
+1 everybody. Eventually, it doesn't even out.
But I mean, you won't, and like, you don't have to have exactly 8 teams at 8. You know,
I'll tell you this much: if you give me Vanderbilt, I'm going -3, and I'm saying round to 64. I know they won last night. I was so prepared for them to lose to Ole Miss in that game.
It nearly happened.
Yeah.
I
do not. That is I don't care who they are playing. I am putting the other team over Vanderbilt. Full stop. Round to 64.
That is a dangerous. Now we can have
blind other team
okay
right now. Put it on the board. Vanderbilt loses first round of the NCAA tournament.
So there are certain teams who are blind. I'm taking the other team, and there are certain teams who are like blind. They're in the national championship game. I don't care who they're playing. You know, that's sort of another variant of this conversation. Stay tuned, by the way, our bracket sim of the day coming up in just about 20 minutes. But for now, we'll take a break and be back after this on 1620 The Zone. Just so you guys know, the topic of the break today was deli, which was exciting to me. I was asked to opine on a certain famous New York City delicatessen, and oh boy, did I! Oh
Many
boy, did I.
opinions.
Cats is fantastic. Everybody should go when they're in New York. You'll probably have to deal with this, moderate to significant line depending on where. I don't know what happened to me that one day. I went on semifinal Friday last year of the Big East tournament. It was like I think I probably got helped out by the timing, but I figured, oh my God, I'm going to go over here and we're going to be in trouble. I'm going to be over here for like 3 hours just waiting to get the sandwich, and I was prepared to do so. But I think I probably went like a few minutes before 11, walked right up to the counter. Dude gave me, like they give you like a plate to eat to quote unquote sample the brisket or whatever while they're cutting it up for you. You watch them pull the giant hump of brisket out of the thing, and they slice it up and all those different things, or whatever type of meat you're getting. What an experience. You get a ticket, you pay for it at the end. You get the matzo ball soup, you get the pickle, you get the weird juice they have. Like, my advice to people when they go to New York is always like, if you haven't been, be a tourist. Like, do the things, do the tourist things. You don't probably have to go to Times Square, but like, do the tourist things.
Yeah, that's kind of my advice for if you've never been anywhere, like notably that's a tourist area.
Yes.
Like, go experience it, see if you like it, and then if you ever come back, you don't have to do it again.
And then you know what to do.
You already crossed it on your list.
Other stuff in that place.
Exactly.
So no, it's great. So I mentioned your comments in this group chat where my friends were talking about this deli, and the super mega buy guy this was his text.
He's being worried about
I
something.
would appreciate if he revisits my dissenting opinion and maybe provides a different visual than standing in front of a tank, because he was talking about how like there's nowhere to sit, and I don't know why he said tank. I don't know if there was a tank outside.
Yeah, what did I say tank?
I'd have to inquire more about that. But he said it's good. He thinks that it's wildly overpriced.
Yeah.
And that he would take other famous places over it in a 1-to-1 comparison.
That I can't speak to, I guess, unless you give me a 1-to-1. Like, I prefer.
Yeah, but you haven't been to San Diego. I don't know. Like, I don't know anyone else in the group chat that's had this exact al pastor taco that he's talking about.
Okay, no, I can't speak to that. I prefer Katz's to the Pittsburgh place that I went to a couple years ago.
Okay, yeah.
What's the Permante's?
Okay.
I prefer Katz's to that.
You have not had, is it Zingerman's?
No, I've not
That's
had
up
that.
in Ann Arbor.
I hear a lot of things about
Brunson,
that.
BC talk about that with great
That's
reverence.
who I hear it from.
Of course.
I also hear it from them. When they go to the brewery in West Lafayette.
Oh yeah, that was a big.
It's like a Pink Floyd or something like that. What is it called?
Three Floyds Brewing.
Yeah.
Where Zombie Dust and Gumball Head originate.
Yeah.
That was a stop of ours for quite a few years. I assume it'll still be a stop for them as well, but we would stay like an hour away from West Lafayette. There's not that many hotels there. And we would get this hotel that was near this brewery. And then that led to Brunson and I at midnight debating Jennifer Aniston, Courtney Cox, watching Pet Ventura or
Pet Ventura.
Ace Ventura, Pet Detective. Wow, that was a verbal mishap.
By the way, we did not to go like too far down this road, but did you see the tweet that we received from Andrew last night? It was speaking of Ace Ventura, Pet Detective.
Was it about our guy Jim?
Well, kind of. So this is from Ace Ventura When Nature Calls.
I did see this.
Yeah, I don't even think I saw this movie. To be honest,
I didn't see this from someone sending it to us. I saw it because Rico wanted his employer to buy it.
That's right. So
which fits on every level.
It is the rhino butt birth from Ace Ventura When Nature Calls. It is at auction now. It is on auction, expected to sell for $4,000 to $8,000. Are you interested?
No,
I'm not either.
So you don't think you've ever saw the second of?
I don't think I ever saw Ace Ventura When Nature Calls.
Movies.
No,
yeah.
I couldn't tell you what the premise was.
I don't know that there's really a premise.
No,
he just kind of runs around.
He doesn't get into
trying to
anything in
save the
particular?
great white horn rhino. I think is the Is the species potentially at could be extinct here?
Okay, so that's a thing.
And that's about the extent of it.
All right,
In terms of plot that I can tell you.
nice.
I don't think it's a movie you need to see, to be honest. If you saw the first one,
I did see
first
Pet
one
Detective.
absolutely should be seen.
He's chewing all those pieces of gum. What a great scene.
Einhorn, Finkel,
Einhorn. There's probably there's one line specifically from that movie that, like, I always see this prompt on social media. It's like, what's a line from a movie that you just say in your everyday life? For that one, it's when they go to Finkel's house, and it's all dark and whatever, and there, and the grandma like opens the door, the mom opens the door, and he brings cookies and they're little footballs. He goes, they're little footballs. I say that all the time for some reason.
Here, I'm expecting you to go with the very obvious.
No, not famous line at all. Little footballs.
Little football.
They're little footballs.
That's great.
I also do the one from Vacation where they jump through the
original.
They jump through the construction sign, and Russ goes, "Dad, you must have flew that thing 50 yards." And he goes, "Nothing to be proud of, Russ." And then he's like, 50 yards. He looks all proudly off into the distance. I quote that on an everyday basis. I don't know why. It's just
Did you watch the remake of that, by the way?
With the Ed Helms?
Yeah.
I did. I don't remember severely not enjoying it. It was like, okay.
I think I've gone out of my way to just pretend like it doesn't exist.
Yeah. It wasn't horrible.
I'm sure it's fine. I just don't think it's I think those movies, and maybe I'm just such a honk for them, but the Vacation movies hold up enough on their own to me.
Really do.
That I don't need like a remake.
Except for European. That movie sucks.
Yeah, it's just sort of what it is. You can skip it and go straight into Christmas. Even Vegas still has some appeal.
I like Vegas. I've always said I like Vegas Vacation.
To me, it's
you put $1 and I got a car.
them.
Put $1 and I got a car. Put $1 and I got a car. That's another one I do every day.
So basically,
any
Ace
movie with Chevy
Ventura
Chase or
Chevy
Jim Carrey.
Chase.
Yeah.
Have you seen Fletch?
I've not seen.
That seems like a movie you would quote. So
people have told me to
Fletch
see
on your
Fletch.
list of things that you'll never actually get to.
Yeah, it's. I even surprised myself by saying out loud that I haven't seen Fletch.
Yeah,
I haven't seen Fletch. Tonight, now here's the perfect elixir for your late night Nebraska ball watching. How would you like? So last night we had a 10 p.m. Big Ten game, 11 p.m. on the East Coast. Tonight we have a 5 p.m. Big East game featuring Creighton and Butler. So Joey, you're always my
schedule,
my steady rock as far as the schedule is concerned on this. I would assume that on Sportsful Iconic just turns it over to John at 4:30.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Look at those.
He'll be
barely doing a show.
It'll be Josh and Stibbs today.
2.5 hours of a show. They're not even going to talk about anything.
They're going to be debating something.
Probably dumb, Lee.
Something dumb.
Maybe there will be a segment about it. Creighton finishes out the regular season. I'm still I still can't believe that they just ended up being the team with the bye in the final weekend of the regular season. It doesn't seem fair. Like,
seems wasteful.
It does.
There's no way you could have worked this. I guess I don't. Joey could explain how it works. I guess. Are there so many teams that they could not have found a way to get the bye?
Well, yeah, because every
well, there's 11 teams, so therefore you can't really schedule everybody on the final day.
Right, everybody has to get a bye
playing early enough in December that you would think that there would be something in there, right?
You only have so many Big East weekends.
Yeah, so I guess the other thing is they probably don't have it structured, and I guess somebody would have to have a bye at the very beginning of January too.
Right.
So then it's almost a waste for them as well.
So that it's
like a coin flip thing?
I don't know. I assume they just rotate through.
I think it's a rotation.
Win. Yeah,
I would hope.
And unfortunately, Creighton just got the bad end of the draw, I guess, this year, which shocking because of the season it's been. For
I guess
them.
if you're gonna have it, at least have it in a year where it sort of wouldn't have mattered either way.
And they get Butler, who's now a completely different team. It's the first time they've seen him in over 2 months. Now tonight at a place where they have struggled routinely at Hinkle Fieldhouse. So we'll see how it all goes. Speaking of the schedule, John Walker asked Mac about this yesterday because I guess Hurley said something about going to 18 games and wanting to play like, for the sole purpose, this is very specific to UConn, to play more like neutral site games that are one-offs like Duke and Michigan did kind of this year. Like obviously UConn is a brand with a lot of cachet and they can get those games and make a lot of money off of them like Duke and Michigan certainly did this year. And I guess Hurley said that they wouldn't mind going to 18 games to accommodate that. And like, as John was asking Mac the question, I was sitting there like, uh-oh, he's not going to like this. And I hated it. I hated it just coming out of his mouth. And he was like, yeah, well, maybe I'm a traditionalist, but I do really like the 20-game round robin. I think the Big East needs to protect that for as long as they possibly can. It is like the soul of college basketball. 20 games, 10-game round robin. You play them both at each site. Like it's perfect.
Can't they do like, I get that you want the neutral site aspect, I guess maybe closer to the tournament, but you can still do that. Like you can already they already play those games.
Now they want to
schedule earlier.
Obviously they would have to probably take away one of their, or two of their bye games or something like that. Like they still need to prepare themselves for the season and all that stuff too.
Did you realize, I forget this every time until I look at one of the team's schedule. We talked about Duke and Michigan and the randomness of that game. Do you remember a week before that, Ohio State just played Virginia?
Oh, yeah. Was that in D.C. too?
It might have been in D.C., and that was like a 70-66 game or something that Virginia ended up winning. But every time I look at one of their schedules, I'm like, that's weird. Yeah. And it's like, oh, yeah, they did this in addition to the Big Ten's Michigan and Duke thing.
Well, from what it sounds like, there is going to be a little bit of maybe contraction of these Thanksgiving tournaments because, well, basically the players era has eaten a lot of it because it's going to be apparently a billion teams deep, and as long as they can pay everybody.
I was going to say, should we be banking on the Fire Festival of basketball tournaments?
It's actually happened, Schaefer, twice.
Fair.
So not the Fire Fest, but like there's sort of a contraction of these events, and so maybe it provides more opportunities for teams to play these one-off games or for more new tournaments to start or something like that. It'll be interesting to see how teams approach it going forward. Obviously, everybody's looking out for themselves. Creighton is a great example of that because they left a tournament that they were scheduled to play in on not so good terms to be able to play in the tournament that they are playing in now. That is definitely real. It's definitely a real tournament.
Is there just a part of this where you could sprinkle in more I know this probably wasn't what we wanted to discuss.
We kind of just stumbled on it. Yeah.
Could you sprinkle in more non-conference games throughout your conference slate if you started conference play just in December, like the middle of before Christmas for some of these teams?
Just started
instead of just having the 2 games, like maybe you try to get 4 in there, and that opens up things throughout the rest of the year.
Maybe.
I don't know that there's a downside to it.
Well, I don't know that people would be prepared for it at that point.
I just don't.
And it makes conference season so long. I mean,
yeah, that's true.
I just think you kind of want to pack it in tight. Like it feels natural to me to start conference slate after the new year and then just end it, first weekend of March.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about those games that are right around Christmas that absolutely, and it's different for everybody, but with the way the Big Ten set up, nobody plays anybody interesting, and Nebraska plays a North Dakota and then a New Hampshire on either side of Christmas. And it's just like you ship that into something more interesting later in the year. Like that's kind of what Hurley's talking about.
I have a better idea. Just make your league a normal size, and then you don't have to jam in conference games in November.
Let's talk about realignment.
Yeah, that's ultimately where this conversation leads. So tonight, Creighton and Butler at 5. If you're watching on TV, it will be FS1 with Noah Reed and Phil Martelli. And then, of course, on the radio, 1620 The Zone and 1019 The Keg with John starting at 4:30. We'll be back, round things out with our bracket sim of the day after this on 1620 The Zone. All right, bracket sim of the day. What will it say about the fate of your beloved Nebraska Cornhuskers?
Win.
EvanMaya.com. Here's what he's got today. Run new simulation. Okay, here's what we got. Nebraska is, they made the NCAA tournament, it turns out. Congratulations.
Are they a 3?
They are a 3. Their first game of the NCAA. Do we remember what their path was yesterday? They ended up losing to Florida.
Yes.
I remember that in the Sweet 16. I can't remember what their first 2 games were.
It was it Louisville?
It was Louisville.
Louisville was the
I
16.
was like, yeah, they're
You're
winning.
gonna crush
It's like they're Louisville, or it's like some combination of Louisville and a playing game,
Right. Yep.
or something like that. All right, so today it is indeed a 3. They will face off against the Troy Trojans.
Okay.
In the first
I'm
round.
going to start writing these down so we can have them.
We can have a nice, good log of them. Troy has made some noise. Didn't they beat somebody good in the early part of the season? Yeah, they beat San Diego State in the early part of the season. Which
they beat Akron too.
That's a tough. They also beat Akron.
I know Akron doesn't qualify as like good, but Akron's going to be a 25-win team or whatever.
That's sort of a tricky one with Troy, just based off of a quick glance at their resume. But they are projected to win that game according to the bracket sim.
Hell yeah!
Where they will face in the second round, in the round of 32, after the historic first NCAA tournament win, they will get the winner of 6-seeded BYU and 11-seed Ohio State.
All right. Well, this game would be on a Saturday.
Okay. That's right, because BYU can't play on. We know all the bracket stuff at this point.
Yep.
In Nebraska, again, has achieved the Sweet 16.
You saw what happened to BYU last night?
By beating BYU. Yes.
You talk about a team that stock is just like.
I don't know what to do with them. Like, I want to stay on the train just only because they have Debanza.
Sure.
But yeah, they're making it a little bit difficult on people. So Nebraska in the bracket sim of the day, 2 for 2 appearances in the Sweet 16. Will they go further? Will they go beyond? Let's see what they have in the second weekend. They run into, okay. They run into a team that has made a bit of a run here.
Oh,
interesting. The 10 seed in this region has beaten the 7 and the 2.
Wow.
To make the Sweet 16. And that team is none other than the Texas A&M Fighting Aggies.
Oh, amazing.
who have beaten Wisconsin and Houston.
Narratives.
Wow.
In the first 2 rounds. They will get Nebraska in the Sweet 16, where the Aggies will win again and eliminate Nebraska in the only possible result that could have happened before going on to lose to Michigan in the Elite Eight.
Even in the simulation world, Trev Alberts is laughing and cackling and does it again.
What a sim. But a Sweet 16 again. 2 for 2.
I'll gladly take it.
That's the headline of Joey's headlines. Nebraska, 2 straight bracket sims to the Sweet 16. Not Nebraska heartbreakingly loses to Trev Alberts after seeing a 10 seed in the Sweet 16.
Can they go for 3 tomorrow?
Yeah, we'll find out. Stay tuned.
This is exciting.
That will do it for us today. Of course, if you missed anything, you can find it all on our website, 1620thezone.com. Tomorrow's Thursday. We'll be back then. The crossover is next.